The FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago isn't the end of the Democratic Party's war against Donald Trump and its voters. It's just the beginning. Why? Because if you can embark on a crusade of never-ending witch hunts to remove a sitting president from office and then raid his home more than a year after he left, then it's clear you can do anything. There are no limits to your power. Now, yesterday we saw just one example of how the Department of Justice is unleashing the power on regime dissidents. You know, just a day after federal agents raided Donald Trump's Palm Beach home, FBI agents approached Republican Congressman and Freedom Caucus Chair Scott Perry while he was traveling with his wife and children. They immediately seized Perry's cell phone before he could consult an attorney. Republicans in Congress must put a stop to this abuse of power immediately. Find some way to do it. They should do whatever they can to stop all order of business in the House and Senate till the Democrats call off their dogs at the DOJ. It can't wait to the midterms. That might be too late.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you something about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun, sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished our 13th year of broadcast excellence. Now in our 14th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. My first thought when I heard about the FBI Mar-a-Lago raid was I didn't know they held school board meetings at Mar-a-Lago. Our own government has declared war on the 75% who disagree and can't stand the Biden administration, its intel, its DOJ, and its impeachable AG Garland, and its FBI. It's even come up with a new reason to revolt. The Green New Deal, with whatever name they've given to it lately, has now weaponized a new militia upon the American people, and especially people who are poor. 87,000 armed IRS agents who are told to use their weapons if necessary. And they will have the power to shut down your bank accounts and starve your family. And if I can remember our history correctly, it was the main reason for our first revolution. To think our tax dollars will be paying for this is disgusting. Why are they doing this? They hate Donald Trump. And it started on the day Trump came down the escalator at Trump Tower. That was 7 years ago. Illegal campaign surveillance, courtesy of the FBI, Obama-Biden administration, leading to Hillary's Russia hoax, Mueller's failure, FBI lying to FISA courts, the perfect phone call to Zelensky and the Ukraine, 2 phony impeachments, the FBI intel, conspiracy to overthrow the 2020 election by burying Hunter Biden's laptop and getting 50 intel leaders to openly lie that this was a Russian disinformation plan. That's 7 years of crimes by Obama, Biden, our DOJ, FBI, and other intel. And the Democratic Party, don't count them out. Us MAGA Trump fans are being cattle prodded into camps or worse. Trump hasn't been indicted for any crime these past 7 years. Have you noticed? I certainly have. I don't know how to yet fight this and win. But I do know this. Never give up, never let up, and you'll never let America down.
FBI agents raided Mar-a-Lago. That's the most beautiful sentence America has ever produced.
Does he know he's not supposed to use the word raid? Well, the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago isn't the end of the Democratic Party's war against Donald Trump and its voters. It's just the beginning. Why? Because if you can embark on a crusade of never-ending witch hunts to remove a sitting president from office and then raid his home more than a year after he left, then it's clear you can do anything. There are no limits to your power. Now, yesterday we saw just one example of how the Department of Justice is unleashing the power on regime dissidents. You know, just a day after federal agents raided Donald Trump's Palm Beach home, FBI agents approached Republican Congressman and Freedom Caucus Chair Scott Perry while he was traveling with his wife and children. They immediately seized Perry's cell phone before he could consult an attorney. Republicans in Congress must put a stop to this abuse of power immediately. Find some way to do it. They should do whatever they can to stop all order of business in the House and Senate till the Democrats call off their dogs at the DOJ. It can't wait to the midterms. That might be too late.
Can you remember a time like this? And, you know, with all the use of our intel and the refreshingness of the fact that Donald Trump has now revealed the deep state. We haven't defeated the deep state, but now we know there is one. There's no getting around that. It brings back what might have happened to John F. Kennedy Jr. and his brother, Robert Kennedy. Really does open that up again, I think. 10 years ago, did you think that your CIA and FBI were capable of the crimes they committed? They basically have overthrown the government. And you don't have to look at 2,000 Mules. You don't have to look at Arizona even. You can just know that they conspired to bury the Hunter Biden laptop and all of its incriminating information on it by saying it was a Russian hoax and getting 50 intel leaders to lie about it in writing. Now, the information I have, and this was in October of 2020, just before we went to the polls, or at least some went to the polls, others went to the mailbox. What it implies is that through the election itself, because they had a poll out for the Democrats, and the Democrats said if we had known about that, we would not have voted for Biden. 17% of them had said that. That was enough to overthrow the election. Okay, that's my little screed for this morning. Of course, I'll have many more during the show. This is a very upsetting time for us. But we need to figure this out, and we need to fight back, and we need to find the best way to it. Let me introduce you to my crew here today. I have my lovely bride, Lisa Ann Weinbaum, who had some startling news when she walked in the door, but I don't want to reveal it here.
Thank you.
And she's not pregnant that I know of.
Oh,
all right.
Jeez. You weirdo.
Well, people might have wondered. What? They might have wondered.
Are you saying I look pregnant?
No.
Then why would people wonder?
They would wonder because what other startling thing happens between a man and a wife? You want to tell everyone?
No, I think you should ask Dr. Amy about that.
Oh, good point.
Speaking of whom, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim is on the show. And by the way, you made me forget now of a very important person, John P. Maxwell, right here, and he's a producer of the show. Our friend at home, another producer, Rick Henderson, who did all the clips and bits today. Thank you, Rick. And hi, Bev. And we have a man staring at me, and he it's like looking in a mirror almost. Although he doesn't show it. He's 254 years old, and he looks younger than I am. And I can tell you this much: I'm not 254 years old. But this man lived during revolutionary times, and I think he's living in revolutionary times now. I wonder if he has connected the two of these. We've taken a vast trip down America's historic lane, and now we seem to be back to where we started. We're all uptight about the government, our government not giving us any relationship at all, much less accountability for our tax money. And they're sending out a militia of tax collectors, armed ones. Please play this gentleman's song.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud
On your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you, ladies and gentlemen. 254-year-old man who needs a tinfoil hat to keep all that information together under that huge brain of his. Please welcome, all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
JJ, what you got for me today?
I have so much, Dave. I was watching you flip through your notes for your monologue and thought, this guy really does a lot of research, and you do.
I do.
I've done a little research myself, and actually I have some visual aids to go along with that. I am a subscriber to the Epic Times, and at one time, my wife was an apolitical woman, didn't care much about politics one way or another. I think she's getting a lot like me. She took the latest edition of the Epic Times, which I'm fixing to hold up here, and underlined things and parenthesized things, clearly did her homework. And this is about illegal immigration. The illegal immigrants that come across our border who turn themselves over to the Border Patrol get a $400 gift card to take care of their immediate needs. And an outfit called the Catholic Charities provides for them transportation, hotel room, food, anything that they need. Well, okay, you could say that this was a very nice thing of the Catholic Charities to do. Well, follow the money. It turns out they are under contract with Health and Human Services and FEMA. They get reimbursed for that by what? Our federal tax dollars. So our federal government is funding these folks to help the illegals cross the border and slide into our country illegally, funded by the federal government. Our government is actually funding violation of our immigration laws at the southern border. And this article was written by Betsy McCaughey, who at one time was lieutenant governor of New York, a Republican. So I would say that she has some finger on the pulse of the things that are going on at the federal level. Extremely interesting article. Our federal government funding the violation of the very laws that they are sworn to uphold.
Sounds like that's worth a raid, isn't it?
Well, I would think so. They certainly did Mar-a-Lago pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mar-a-Lago, think about our friend, well, not my friend, Hillary Clinton.
Oh, God.
33,000 emails that she destroyed, 2 servers that she destroyed that were in a closet in a bathroom.
Yeah.
Completely and totally illegal, separate from her duties as the Secretary of State. She destroyed all of that stuff, or at least it was done at her direction. Did she get raided? Was she prosecuted? No.
They actually turned over some of the correspondence. It was meaningless, but they also found about 10 or 15 of these emails that were confiscated by our enemies.
How about that?
And they weren't classified or anything, or they were classified information, but they were in her private computer.
There is evidence that her server was compromised by the Russians.
Well, yeah.
So they got this classified information off of her private server. Completely and totally illegal. Title 18 United States Code.
Can we trace a date back to when that raid was on her compound, her and Bill's?
Yeah. No.
How about the raid on Obama's? Obama had about 1 million things that he took from the government.
The point is,
what date was the raid on that?
We have two systems of justice in this country. If you're a Clinton or an Obama or anybody, socialist, communist, Democrat, you get a pass. Let's talk about Hunter Biden for a moment. He's got incredibly condemning things on his laptop, and only the state of Delaware is pursuing him. The DOJ, nope, not a thing. Yet here is an ex-president, possibly the best we've had since Ronald Reagan, even though he tweeted too damn much, who gets raided by the FBI. This could have been done subtly. This could have been done quietly, but no. It's almost the equivalent of the perp walk. They sent all these agents in there, carried out box after box of information.
Well,
now,
this is an important point. This was unprecedented.
It was.
It was never done to any president ever. They've always worked these things out, just as Trump was working these things out, in total cooperation with the FBI.
Yeah.
So this is a game here. And they barred. There was a couple of Trump lawyers there, and they kicked them out of the house while they were searching. So I wouldn't put it past them that they have planted something somewhere that they're going to claim. Look what we found. Oh my!
Not surprised me at all, Dave. This thing is so clearly politically motivated. It has nothing to do with justice. Has nothing to do with the National Archives. That's all a smokescreen. All this is bare political intrigue perpetrated by the White House, although our White House initially said, we don't know anything about it. Wait a minute.
Really?
If you are head of the FBI or Attorney General of the United States with something this big, you're going to notify the White House. You're going to ask their permission. So who's lying here? Is it the White House? Is it Wray? Is it Garland? I don't know. I suspect they're all lying.
Well, listen,
they're all a bunch of communists anyway.
We were depicted as evil. Us Trump supporters, we're called ultra MAGAs, and that puts us in a category of white supremacy, anti-Semitism. Two of the things that I'm very confused about because I am Jewish and sort of white. I'm a Semite, all right? And by the way, I'm the same color as probably Jesus Christ was, you know? And so are they saying that Jesus Christ was a white supremacist? I mean, I'm confused by all this.
Now, if you look at rules for radicals, this is exactly what they do.
Well, yeah,
They hang a sign around your neck that says, I am an anti-Semite.
Yeah, and we're getting prodded like cattle. We're getting prodded to be either incarcerated or worse, in my opinion, because they have identified us as the worst problem in the world.
Well, we are the worst problem for them.
For them, well, we need to be.
I intend to be.
When did the Republicans ever say we ought to get rid of all these Democrats and put them in a plantation and or a FEMA apartment or something?
We're Americans. We don't do that.
I know
the
that.
other side does that.
Yeah. Okay.
As an aside, we're talking about 87,000 FBI agents.
No, IRS agents.
Yes, IRS agents. Sorry. Two things about that. Number one, What do you say we take that 80,000 or 87,000 folks and turn them into Border Patrol? And how about we defend our southern border? And how about we leave those of us who pay our taxes alone? If you recall, the first revolution in this country occurred because of taxation without representation.
Right.
We've come full circle. We're right back to that again.
Exactly.
Now,
that's what you remember in your time long ago in the first Revolutionary War, right? We're back to that right now.
We are.
We're there.
Indeed.
And by the way,
This
87,000, you think of that number, it's more people than any of our combined outside offices in bureaucrats and things like that, all over the country. There are more of them in the IRS now than there are in all of these Department of Defense, the DOJ, all these bureaucratic organizations. The IRS now holds more than all of them put together.
We'll see if this actually occurs.
Oh, I think it's going to occur today. They're going to vote for it today.
Speaking of the dirty and disgusting tendrils of the federal government, our own Eric Schmidt published a letter. I have a copy of it right here, which is a response from Director Wray of the FBI. Director Wray sent a number of the sheriff's departments in Missouri a letter that said, we're going to audit you. In particular, we're going to audit your concealed carry permit holders list. That's a violation of Missouri law. And Eric Schmidt wrote him a very nice letter. I wouldn't have written it that nicely, that said, you're trying to violate Missouri law. We're not going to cooperate with you. So go pound sand.
Now, is this for Gardner? Is this for Merrick Gardner?
No, this was actually a response to a letter from FBI Director Wray.
Oh, another winner.
Now, if you read the Missouri law, and I'm reading this letter right now just for a moment, concealed carry permit under the subsection shall not be distributed to any federal, state, or private entities, 571.101.9:2 RSMO. What that amounts to is this. When the concealed carry law for Missouri was written, it was written in such a fashion that the sheriff's departments of the individual counties are the sole possessor of that data. Who has a concealed carry permit? Who is current? Who is not? And if you recall, that information was shared one time with the Department of Revenue, our own Department of Revenue.
Really?
It was, and those folks got fired. Now, so that cat's already out of the bag, but at least not at a federal level. Here we have the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations telling a state, well, in this case, Attorney General of Missouri, we need to audit your concealed carry permit holders. What they don't say is we're going to establish a database of who's armed and who's not.
Of course.
And Schmidt, to his benefit, said, no, we're not going to do that. You folks have way overreached your authority in this case, and we're not going to cooperate with you. It's a very interesting letter.
Well, I think Schmidt's looking like he might turn out to be a pretty good senator.
Well, there's a shot at it anyway, Dave.
Yeah.
But the fact that Wray even attempted this says that he's way over the tips of his skis. He's way beyond the mandate of the FBI. They're trying to get state information, and certainly it's to establish a registry of folks that own guns. Now, I'm no doubt on a bunch of lists anyway, because I'm a patriot, because I'm right-wing, because I own guns. I'm no doubt on a CIA list and a bunch of others.
Sure.
But the fact that these folks would go in print and say, this is what we want, tells me that the FBI is way, way, way overextended the bounds that were established.
Well, it sounds like an infringement of the Second Amendment, isn't it?
Well, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So these guys would like to take your guns outright by legislation. If they can't do it that way, they go in the back door. And consider what Obama did. I mean, if you look at the puppetry that's going on in the executive branch of this country, Obama's hand is stuffed up inside that puppet.
It is exactly what Obama was trying to do. In fact, in Obamacare, I read the thing, it was like 2,000 pages or something like that.
So did I.
And I saw two things in there. There was two different kinds of militia in there.
Shirts.
And when I started, and I put it away for a while, I said, this can't be right. When I looked at it again, though they had taken those militias out of there. Well, guess what this is? The IRS. That is another militia. It's 87,000 Army.
We hung a different sign on it, is all that it amounts to.
Exactly.
This is the equivalent of Nazi Germany. Where we are the Jews and we are being persecuted. Those of us who are patriots. And
so does
really
that make
all any of us want to do, Dave, is to just be left alone. Yet these folks will not do that. It's a sad day in this country when our executive branch, in particular the DOJ, raids a president's home.
Yeah.
Raids it.
Yeah, that's
this
incredible.
is unprecedented. It's never been done in this country.
Yeah.
Well,
I tell you what, it's that particular thing seems to have backfired because I think they just elected Donald J. Trump to 2024. How they?
No
you think they're going to sit there and say, well, you have a crime now after 7 years of trying this crap, after really 3 impeachments, if you consider 1-6, and you think they're going to be able to keep him from running? No. I don't think so. They're in big trouble now. They overstepped, way overstepped.
This thing was clearly an act of desperation.
Way overstepped.
It's clearly desperation. They've not been able to get a thing on Teflon Trump, not a thing.
Right.
And now they're going to go for the trivia. Oh, gee, he had classified information. Well, Hillary did too. You guys didn't bother to prosecute her. But they want to get anything that looks like a felony on this guy so that he can't run again. And,
of course.
Okay, even if you do that, the folks in this country who support him, and we are certainly the majority, are not going to let that happen.
Well,
these
I
folks
hope not.
believe it. Even though they're communists, they are somewhat responsive to public opinion. And those of us who are vocal are going to raise hell about this.
Well, you already got some leaks, some bad leaks in the FBI at least. Mm-hmm. And I always wonder, you sign an oath, and it says that you are pledging allegiance to the Constitution of the United States against
all
domestic,
enemies, foreign and domestic.
And foreign. But with the domestic thing really bothers me. Mm-hmm. These guys aren't stupid. The average FBI agent, they can see what the hell's going on. And some of them are starting to leak. And they're leaking to senators like Grassley. Mm-hmm. And this is getting out. And if any FBI person is out there, please look at that oath again and do your duty. Get out there and do stuff that is going to prevent this country from becoming Russia or China. Please, I'm begging you.
We are headed that way.
I know. Well, we need their help. We can't just, we can't just make magic. We'll have to figure something out, but we can't let this go. Anyways, what else you got from me, my friend?
One more thing: the Inflation Reduction Act. This nasty little piece of legislation gives $85 billion in existing loans to Green New Deal stuff, $250 billion for new energy loans. Do you remember Solyndra under the Obama administration? Yeah. Did the federal government ever get any of that loan money back when Solyndra folded?
Oh, come on. We know the answer to that. Hell
yeah,
no.
Of course not. This ends up being another Democrat giveaway to the Green folks. And there's many, many more tucked in there. This is payback for the stealing of an election. That's all this is.
It's payback.
It's not even very well hidden.
It's payback to China. From
China
the Biden and Obama administration. I wonder how much money Obama's made out of this.
Well, you can bet it's a bunch, but you can bet you can't trace it either.
What was his cut?
Cutouts upon cutouts.
I want to know what Obama's cut was.
I don't know. But I'll tell you what, his smell is all over this thing. There's no question in my mind at this point who's pulling the strings, and it's Barack and his communist buddies. One last thing, Dave. Brittany Griner,
Yes.
who was sentenced to go to a work camp in Russia. They're talking about trading her for an arms dealer named Victor Bout. My opinion on that, you guys keep her. We really don't want her all that bad. She's anti-American. Let her stay where she chose.
Well, the one thing that is going to be a benefit to her is that she won't have to kneel for the Star-Spangled Banner anymore, will she?
Indeed. This is a case where the privileged anti-American got caught, and now she can see what communism really looks like from the dirty side.
Yeah. I mean, this is an amazing mind-setting thing, and I wonder what she really thinks. If there's any awareness at all at the huge stupidity that she showed and where she is now.
Oh, Dave, she is thinking right now at this moment, I am so totally screwed.
Yeah.
And you know something? You're anti-American. You went over there voluntarily. Why don't you just stay? Dave, I love our Friday morning conversation.
As do I, as always. And hi to Gene. And you know what? I guess you've convinced your wife now to be political.
She's not as far right as I am, but she's headed in the right direction.
Mine is worse. I think she's getting worse than I am. Are you?
I think that's a wonderful thing.
I am not worse than you.
Not worse than me? I was using that as a compliment. Stop it.
Perhaps we ought to take a poll.
All right.
Dave,
No polls. No polls. No. It's 2-1 against me here.
I can put that out on Facebook if we need to.
And he's got those nasty little crickets, and I don't want to hear that anymore. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for J.J. Bradshaw. Yay. All right, you know what? That brings us to maybe we should do something about before I go to a clip or a bit. I want to make sure I got this in there. I don't think I mentioned the rabbi coming on next at about 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, and Chris Adamo coming on at 9:15, about 9:15. Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim, who I know I did mention, and Jeff Zink, who has more new stuff. He guarantees me. Jeff Zink's getting a lot of attention out there. Even Mike Huckabee is talking about him. All right, so he's getting on scale here because he's starting to spread some of this information he's got from both the Arizona audit and all the other things that are going on with the voting and the voting laws and things like that. And he's also got information on the 1-6 gathering and probably has some information on the Donald Trump raid. Anyways, let's now listen to Ronald Reagan, please.
You know, there's a 10-year delay in the Soviet Union of delivery of an automobile. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. This man, he laid down his money, and then the fellow that was in charge said to him, okay, come back in 10 years and get your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fellow behind the counter said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? And he said, well, the plumber's coming in the morning.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Okay, we've got some messages here, and if you want to call the show, 573-578-2700. Chester, where the hell are you? Come on, man. Anyways, Tim Owens says Tim Owens is watching. Well, thank you, Tim Owens. Pamela Tanner, good morning. Good morning to you, Pam. And defund the bill, Pamela Tanner. And John Jeffrey Bradshaw, who's just on with another great performance. He says, love the show. We love you, too. Okay, and Patricia Oden Maxwell, the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show and the official mother to J.P. Maxwell, sitting right here across from me. Looking great, sounding great. Go team, yeah. And how do they contact us?
You can comment on Facebook, Twitter, or you can go to daveweinbaum.net. We're monitoring the comments there as well.
All right, great. And I'm noticing, Tim Owens has a picture. And I guess they have pictures, some of them, don't they? Mm-hmm. Yes, all right. Well, that's great. We're going to have the rabbi on. He should be on any second now. Let's do another short bit. Let's do the cop. Let's hit that, because that should take a few seconds. And hopefully...
Recording me makes you feel safer. That's fine. I support you in doing that. But here's what's going to happen next. You're going to do me a favor, and I'm going to do you a favor so we can both go on about our day.
What favor can I do for you?
You're going to slow it down when passing through here. We got a lot of traffic. I'm going to rip that Biden-Harris bumper sticker off the back of your car so people don't think you're an idiot.
All right. That was great timing, because guess what we have right now? We have the rabbi. All right, and my lovely bride is coming back. Thank you, dear. Look, he's sweating. His sweat's pouring off. Okay, so we're going to play his song first, and let's hit that.
Yeah, 1 second, Dave. You were talking to another rabbi? Sounds like you're cheating on me.
No, actually, I'm cheating with you on him because he was the first rabbi. Listen to this. I got rabbis fighting over me. This is kind of weird. Second most powerful in Israel in his own home, according to his wife Yonit. He travels the world aligning Christians, Jews, and Muslims. The official rabbi to Missouri and the Dave Weinbaum Show. And he's sort of like, where's Waldo? I don't know where the rabbi is right now. So, anyways, greet him from wherever he is, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. So where's Waldo today?
I'm back in Israel now.
Home. Okay. All right. Where's the maid? So let me ask you. There's 87,000 more gun-toting IRS in this country now. It will be shortly when this bill's passed today. Can we share some of them with you?
No, thank you.
No, you don't want them. That's too bad. Israel has been on the receiving end of over 1,000 rockets. Is this over yet, or is this just like another thing? Has Joe Biden lifted a finger? Has he contacted Trump? Has he threatened to raid them?
Well, not really. It was incredible how Israel was under attack, and I didn't see it reported on Fox News. I was in the States at the time, and it was not really covered by Fox. Especially there was one missile that was fired by the terrorists, by the Islamic Jihad. It landed short and ended up killing, I think it was like 11 Palestinian kids, And had those kids been killed by Israelis, that would have been, the front page of the New York Times with photographs of all 11.
I'm surprised they didn't do that anyways. They've done that several times, haven't they? Where they killed their own people and they showed it as you killing them, Israelis.
Right, but Israel was very aggressive in releasing video and proof that it came from, there was no doubt where the missile came from. So, the news isn't going to cover it when, Palestinians accidentally kill their own. The whole thing got really very little or no coverage in the U.S.
Yeah. And it's now disappeared from even the Israeli news.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching that.
It was very quick operation, very successful, very, supported by the public.
And here I have an understanding that we have a Ben and Jerry moment. Hold on. And now it's time for Ben and Jerry's Scoop of the Day from Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. Now, you actually have a scoop on Ben and Jerry and what they've done in the United States. You want to tell the people what that is?
Yes. The headquarters of Ben and Jerry, which is in Vermont, is on stolen Indian land.
No!
I believe that it was called the Abenaki tribe. And I, along with 1,000 other Israeli students, we insist that Ben and Jerry's immediately withdraw and evacuate from their headquarters because they are on land that does not belong to them.
How could that be? How could that be? They are so stringent about the rest of the world and especially Israel.
Yeah, demanding that Israel withdraw from the so-called West Bank while they are sitting on stolen land. That's hypocritical.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
we should start protests in Vermont.
So God did not give Ben and Jerry that land, did they? Did he?
No. They should label on every ice cream, it should be from stolen lands. You know, on every,
and they ought to give some money to them. Shouldn't they give them some money, Ben and Jerry? Well, I wonder what the interest is on that for all those years that they've occupied this land and made their ice cream. You there, Rabbi? Rabbi is so touched by this, he is frozen. Okay, he is frozen with a pathetic thought about Ben and Jerry. This is what happens when you do a ice cream bit. You get frozen out. Okay.
Yeah, there we are.
There you are. What happened? Okay.
I don't
Did
know.
Ben and Jerry just try to freeze us out?
Yeah, those anti-Semites.
Yeah, how about that? Okay, so we got the Ben and Jerry. Is there any other scoops of the day? As long as I got that out there.
Not that I have for you right now.
Okay. Now Putin allegedly is tightening Jews moving to Israel or anywhere else for that matter. So where are we going with this?
Yeah, this is not a very good situation where the removal of the and the Jewish agency leaving Russia, the Jewish agency, which is the arm of the government, aiding in those who would like to move to Israel. And also this week, Russia launched a satellite into outer space, which gives Iran access to be able to see what's going on in Israel from space. And that's a pretty serious thing. That's a very serious thing, and they claim it's for agricultural use, but to watch the patterns of weather.
So you're saying that's just a bunch of fertilizer, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but I know you well enough to know what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's a lot of Shiite Muslims, as they say.
Oh my God, it's just terrible. It's just terrible.
So, anyhow, that's a pretty serious thing.
Yeah. Well, that kind of stuff is bound to happen. Your enemies are going to try to do bad things to you. It's just too bad they're getting the help from who? The United States of America. Anyways, Merrick Garland has this ridiculous situation where he has raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago. I'm sure you heard of that. And now the MSM is accusing Trump supporters of anti-Semitism. I mean, I don't know what to do here. I'm confused because they're now, the Trump supporters, of which I am one, is saying anti-Semitic things about Merrick Garland, who happens to be Jewish and grew up not too far away from where I was.
Yeah.
So I'm very confused about what I should think here. What do you think?
I'm confused about what I should tell you to think.
You're not being a big help, though, are you?
No, I'm not.
There you go. Okay.
I've learned from trying to tell my wife what to think that it never works.
Never works. Yeah. Well, she's, I met your wife now and I've talked to her. Okay. I know I talked to her at your house a long time ago, but she's very smart. She's smart as a whip. And I can understand why you're so cautious with her because she's, quite frankly, smarter than you. Anyways, Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and contribute?
They can go to our website, IsraelAlliance.org, or they can go to our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Israel Alliance. We'd love to hear from you guys.
You know, about 20 years ago, my jeweler asked me where I'd been. And I said, well, I split up with my wife. He said, just because you got divorced, why should I suffer? Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild, all the way back from Israel, from the United States to Israel. So great to have you, Rabbi. You know, there's not a lot of news this week, let's face it, for you guys.
It was a quiet week.
No news is good news. That's what they say on death row. No news is good news. All right. Anyways, Rabbi, thank you so much. You have Shabbat Shalom, my friend.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That was short but sweet, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, I looked through everything I could find. Jerusalem Post. I looked through all the stuff that I get from Israel, all the latest news from Israel, the world news, United for Israel, and I just didn't find anything new. You know, there was just old stuff there.
But that was a heck of a scoop of the day there.
Wasn't it?
That's interesting. Huh.
He actually sent
Hypocritical much? Yeah, that's...
Oh, my gosh.
Take that finger that you're pointing and put it right back on yourself.
Yeah, well, that's usually the case, you know. Terrible.
It's kind of like dealing with the Democrats all the way around. Whatever they accuse you of doing, they've already done it, or they're actively doing the very same thing.
That's for sure. We got a news flash now. We have a competition going on right now with the sons of important people. And you think Hunter Biden is bad? Well, there's another one. Paul Pelosi Jr. And Jr. is, well, I don't know how old is Hunter. Is he about 50 now? They must be.
I'm not sure, but I'm guessing he's around that.
Yes, they announced that.
So is Paul Jr.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I confused
Paul
him.
Jr.
Paul is 50.
Yeah. I think Hunter's a little younger, but...
he doesn't look it.
Paul Jr., I never heard of this guy before.
It would stress me out to be in that family, too. I wouldn't be able...
Exactly.
But he is... she took him on the trip to Taiwan and all these other places, like South Korea and Japan. And he's been to Ukraine. And he's got businesses over there, you know? And he's never been married. He probably lives with mom and dad. And he is known as the Prince of San Francisco, the Fresh Prince of San Francisco. And he's got a lot of criminal investigations into him. What is it about these people? What is it about these people? You know, their kids are living off the taxpayers. It's bad enough that they live off the taxpayers and steal from us. And Paul Sr. is out there getting all sorts of tips from his wife, who knows what legislation is going to pass and what isn't. And they've made a fortune in the stock market based on inside knowledge. Because why? They're in Congress. This is how they make a living. And Joe Biden has made millions off of his son Hunter. And selling what? They sell the availability. They sell the. Does anybody think that China isn't in control? I think China is. I think China's making a show, because Biden's he just gave him a couple 100 million barrels of oil. Okay, when we're starving for oil in this country, why would the President of the United States give China a couple 100 millions of oil? What would that have done for our economy? What would that have done to decrease inflation? You know, all that stuff you're paying for steaks and for hamburgers. You know, to go out to the theater once in a while. You go on vacation, go on planes. I mean, people cannot stand this government, and I think a lot of them are Dems. A lot of them are so embarrassed. If you want to call the show, 573-578-2700. All right, let's play a couple more clips. Let's play Levin. Let's do 13. All right, 13 and 14.
I'm a former chief of staff to United States Attorney General. We would never, ever have done this. Never. That's number one. Number two, it's 90 days before midterm election. That's outrageous. Number three, everybody pretty much knows that Donald Trump is going to run in the Republican primary for president of the United States. And so you have a sitting president who wants to run against him and his attorney general acting like this. Now, here's how this worked. Everybody's guessing. I'll tell you what happened. This is in the jurisdiction of the U.S. Attorney in District of Columbia, who's also overseeing the January 6th prosecutions. Why? Because that's where the National Archives is, in the District of Columbia. They didn't send FBI agents from the Washington office down there. They would have used FBI agents in South Florida, and they would have coordinated with the U.S. Attorney's office down there if they're playing it by the book. He wouldn't have done anything without the sign-off of the Attorney General of the United States, period. Number three, this was well orchestrated, so this has been going on for weeks. Now, you keep asking your guests, what's the justification? There is no justification. But what's he going to say tomorrow, the Attorney General? Here's my guess. We've been negotiating with Trump and his lawyers since February when we found out they had this information. We were getting nowhere. And then we heard that some documents were being destroyed. Maggie Haberman of the New York Slimes was on CNN. They've been running pictures of hers that she's going to have in the book of documents being flushed down a toilet. That doesn't mean a damn thing. It could be anything flushed down a toilet.
With Elise Stefanik's name on it. That's all it was.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you've asked, what would the pretext be?
So that's Mark Levin commenting on the Mar-a-Lago raid, and this is the kind of stuff that he used to be assistant attorney general, for goodness sakes. He was big in the Reagan administration, was Mark Levin, who I got to meet once at CPAC, and I handed him a McDonald's card, and he was confused. He says, "What are you going to do? Give me McDonald's hamburgers?" I says, "No, I'm a radio guy, like you." He says, "Oh, okay, yeah." And he looks at me funny. He says, "Do we kind of look alike?" And I says, "Well, yeah, we were separated at birth." And he kind of thought that was funny. So, and you were there, honey, weren't you, for that?
I was
yes.
there. Mm-hmm.
So you're a witness. I'm not lying.
No, there's actually a photo of you somewhere standing next to
yes,
me.
Yes, I know. So now you've got this thing is going on, and Merrick Garland came out yesterday, and he's claiming, as is the White House, that the White House knew nothing about this. Does anyone believe that? And the next thing you know, I mean, the octave, the pictures of this, of Biden getting on Air Force One with his family, including Hunter Biden, and traveling to South Carolina on an island there, and that the next thing you're watching is Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago being raided, and Merrick Garland just ripping into him about nothing. Nothing. This has never been done before. And like I said, Merrick Garland, I thought he made a mistake, and that they were holding some kind of a school board meeting at Mar-a-Lago. That's who he gets mad at. Parents, how dare you? We're dangerous, man. We go into these school meetings and we raise hell. You want to teach our kids to hate each other? You want to teach our kids how to change their genders, or what even their gender could or should be? Yeah, we get a little ticked off about stuff like that. But that makes us evil. That makes us an enemy to this man, Merrick Garland. Isn't that incredible? And I grew up I think we're about the same age, too. I don't know if I ever crossed paths with him. But North Chicago, basically, is I think he was in Lincolnwood, maybe, or someplace like that. I grew up in Skokie, not far away. We're about the same age, I think. Obviously, different backgrounds, because I certainly never was a lawyer or a judge. But then again, neither am I an idiot. I have to watch a lot of idiots that are judges and dishonest. What about this guy? Reinhardt, I think it was, who, let's see, he's the guy that signed off on it. He's not even a judge. He's a magistrate. What is that? Is that somebody that should be signing off on some kind of an affidavit and or warrant? I don't think so. Do you? You know?
I wouldn't think so, but again, they don't really ask me my opinion on anything, so they probably don't care.
His name is Bruce Reinhardt, okay? And I think he actually recused himself on one Trump case. He was with Epstein at one point. Was documented as defending people that were hurt by Epstein. He's written all sorts of nasty stuff about Trump on Facebook. And this is the guy that signed the warrant. You know, I guess they really had to put a search on for that. I mean, never been done before. And now he's in hiding. Okay, another reason to blame Trump supporters for anti-Semitism. It's amazing. I have not met anyone from the Trump realm on Twitter, and I know a lot of people on Twitter. They help push this show, and there are some Jewish people, but there's a lot of non-Jews. I live in a town where I'm just about the only Jewish family. There's a few others, but not many. And I've been here for 47 years. I don't have any problems here. I did maybe at first because I'm unusual and I'm a city guy coming to a rural area. And I think I get along just fine now. I think most people like me here, not that I go out to be liked, because there are some Democrats here that hate me. Hi there, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Adolf.
Hi, Adolf. Where you been, man?
Oh, I've been busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest.
Oh, the what? What did that mean? 1 million man in a butt-kicking contest?
That's pretty busy.
Are you drinking? It's a little early, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay,
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Jeez. Well, it's 5 o'clock in the morning almost. All right, what can I do for you today, sir?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
I figured you'd have as much.
Yeah, well, there's this idea floating around in my head that they didn't raid Donald's house to get evidence on Donald.
Okay.
They raided Donald's house to see if Donald had any evidence on them.
There could be something there. There could be something there. Well, who doesn't have evidence on them? We know the evidence on them. They've pretty well admitted to it. You know, when you got people in the FBI admitting to dropping the Hunter Biden laptop case, and then you got all these liars from Intel signing off, and it's in the headlines of the New York Post that this was a Russian hoax. The laptop was a Russian hoax. We got it. The proof is there.
It gets sillier and sillier every day.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I can only hope that they don't get any federal election laws in place to really screw the next ones up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's all I can say.
All right. So what else you got? Anything?
No, we're good to go.
Hi to Joanne.
We're hanging in there. I got to get back to work.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. This work stuff.
Okay. How do you?
That's what happens when you retire.
I have to ask you a question. How do you know streakers are in the area?
That's a good question.
Oh, Watch for the flashing signs.
Ah, the flashing signs. There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hey,
You and Joanne have a great weekend.
We will.
All right. Honey, say good hello
Bye.
to
Bye,
our
guys.
friends. Bye.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, and we got about 10 minutes until we hit Chris Adamo, who, by the way, is substituting. He used to be the lead-in to Elad Hakim. Now he's substituting for Cheryl Chumley and Elad. Elad had to go to the doctor. What a show for a lawyer to be on, though. And he's writing columns left and right, Elad is, and I think we got his columns on our site, don't we?
I don't have him up right now, no.
Oh, really?
No.
All right, well, you got to do this for him because he's good. And Adamo's on there all the time.
He's too prolific.
Who is?
Elad.
Too prolific?
Yes, he's writing like 3 or 4 articles a week.
Yeah, it's incredible.
keep
That's
up
why I
with that.
wanted to talk to him about this because he is very, very anti whatever this is going on. He's very pro Trump. And he happens to be Jewish, just like me. Only better, he's from Israel. Okay? He moved here. So it's kind of interesting to talk to him. It's kind of interesting to talk to people in Israel. We had a great talk when the rabbi was here with, because there's so much commonality amongst us and how we got here and trying to remember where we came from, which in most cases is from actually Israel.
That's what makes me wonder, this whole act by the left to get rid of history. Is it because they're really ashamed of it, as they claim, or is it because you're doomed to repeat it and they don't want people to know what happened years ago? They want them to forget about it.
I think they're scared.
And we're not going to forget about it, so they might as well give that up.
I really think that Trump is standing between them and their lives because now they've been caught in all these lies. They've been caught in all these crimes. These are crimes. These are felonies. Overthrowing the government? Come on. That's the FBI overthrowing our own government along with intel heads? They got hell to pay. I mean, I hope the way this thing comes out is... And I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody, but they're going to have to figure out a way to pay for this because they're destroying a lot of our lives, and they're doing it on purpose, and they can't get away with this. 75%. They keep flashing this on Fox News. 75% of people in this country hate what's going on.
Yep.
That's not a survivable political deal. Biden's going to make an attempt. Biden claims there's no inflation anymore.
No.
Zero inflation.
So where did it go anyway?
I don't know.
I never understood his claim of 0%.
His claim was that because of maybe gas being a little lower, that all of a sudden there's no.
Fuel is not in the consumer price index. They took that out under another Democrat.
Well, and again, fuel's still up. It's just down from where it was. But he didn't lower gas prices.
I mean, it was up 8.5% inflation, okay? That's down from the 8.9 inflation from last month. But it's still 8.5% over last year. So what kind of craziness is that? And nobody believes them. Nobody.
We've got 3 clips from Jesse about Pelosi Jr. I wonder if we should play those because these are interesting, kind of diving in. I didn't even know some of this.
I did talk about it, but go ahead play the Jesse clips.
He was also caught by foreign photographers in Singapore and Japan. The U.S. press, who covered every move Nancy made in the Pacific, somehow never noticed that her son Paul was along for the ride. He was even wearing the same purple tie he wore when he went to Ukraine. Oh, you didn't know he went to Ukraine? Well, yeah, we didn't either. You won't find any trace of this on the speaker's website because she didn't want you to know about Paulie Jr. What was her son doing there? He's not an elected official. He's not an advisor to Nancy. He doesn't even live in Washington. But he was greeted as royalty by the president of Taiwan. Well, we know Mr. Pelosi doesn't refer to Paul Pelosi Sr. because he had a prior obligation last week, as we've been reporting. Now, if you check the Speaker's website, you could read the official transcript from that event that we just played for you. But Pelosi's office edited the part out of the transcript where they mentioned Mr. Pelosi. Isn't Nancy proud of her son? Well, maybe not. Back home in California, Paulie has a bit of a reputation. They call him the Fresh Prince of San Fran. And if you thought Hunter Biden's business deals were shady, just wait. Paulie Jr. is on the payroll of 2 lithium mining companies. And Asia just happens to be a lithium gold mine. And Taiwan just happens to be a world leader in lithium battery production. He's also heavily invested in Singapore's energy sector. Wasn't that another stop on Nancy's trip? Oh, it was. South Korea is another place where the Fresh Prince does business. Just a few months ago, his company struck up an EV battery deal there. What do you know? Nancy went to South Korea also. We didn't get any pictures of Paulie there, but maybe he took a quick trip himself to China alone. I mean, his mother's always been very interested in that country. Just like Papa Paulie, Prince Pelosi will go wherever the money is. I mean, where his mother is. And he has a history of screwing people, just not in the same way Hunter does. 5 separate federal investigations are circling Pelosi Jr.'s companies. Paul Pelosi was allegedly, quote, hired by several firms that were subject to both federal and state probes, and meanwhile has connections to a host of fraudsters, rule breakers, and convicted criminals.
So that's another guy. I never heard of the guy. You ever hear him?
This was the first I really heard information about him, but it's pretty interesting.
How many kids of congressmen or women that have been around for a long time and/or senators are there out there like this, making a living off of their parents' name at the taxpayers, you and me, expense? Isn't that interesting? Huh? Mayor Adams, New York mayor, tells New Yorkers to go to Texas and get rid of Governor Abbott by kicking him out of office, voting him out of office. And Mayor Adams is saying, bring it, you know what? Bring it. Bring it. I can't wait to welcome more New Yorkers to Texas. I mean, he's shipping illegal immigrants from Texas to New York and to D.C., where that mayor's going nuts about it, okay? And it's a tiny little fraction of what Texas has had to endure without any help from the government, without any help from the federal government. In fact, the federal government is financing all this. They are financing the invasion of our country into Texas, into New Mexico, into Arizona. And they're flying them all over the country. That's what they're doing, and they're putting them up with whose money? Your money, ladies and gentlemen. That's who they're doing it with. Okay, I think, you know what? I think it's time for Seinfeld bus. What do you think?
I jumped on the bus. I told the driver, I got a tow here, buddy. Step on it. Holy cow! Yeah. Then, all of a sudden, this guy pulls out a gun. Well, I knew any delay's gonna cost her her pinky toe, so I got out of the seat and I started walking towards him. He says, where do you think you're going, Cracker Jack? I says, well, I got a little prize for you, buddy. Yeah! Knocked him out cold. How could you do that? Yeah, then everybody is screaming because the driver, he's passed out because of all the commotion. The bus is out of control. So I grab him by the collar, I take him out of the seat, I get behind the wheel, now I'm driving the bus. You're Batman. Yeah, I am Batman. Then the mugger, he comes to and he starts choking me. So I'm fighting him off with one hand and I kept driving the bus with the other, you know. Then I managed to open up the door and I kicked him out the door, you know, with my foot, you know, at the next stop. You kept making all the stops? Well, people kept ringing the bell.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Now we got to get serious because my next guest is here. He's on time as usual. Let's play a song. My next guest lived in the back of a pizza restaurant in Wyoming. I think he was making up the boxes. He became the first Italian there, not on the witness plan from the feds. Please welcome, all the way from Missouri now, where he's there to irritate me, Chris Adamo. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Trump was sailing along, doing very well.
Where's my book?
But there was some muttering about his time had passed. Biden, and then he got raided. What the hell's going on?
Oh, where to begin with all of this? There's so much to talk about here. The latest one I thought you'd enjoy this morning, reported in the Washington Post, is that they were looking for possible nuclear secrets.
I heard that
with him. Now, for starters, Donald Trump has shown an incredible amount of astuteness with the things that he does. You think he'd really take nuclear secrets with him, number one. Number two, this thing has shown a lot more backfiring on these people than I think even they expected. They expected us to get mad and get over it, which we typically do. We get mad
and hate Trump.
What's that?
Get mad and turn on Trump.
Well, they keep hoping for stuff like that. It hasn't happened yet because when you have the alternative is Trump or this nasty, vile leftist cabal. No, we're not going to turn on Trump if it's going to credit them. But at this point, what we're seeing from the Washington Post and others, we're saying it's coming from the DOJ. We can go into great detail about that. You're seeing damage control amongst them. And that's what this whole thing about the nuclear secrets is. Who knows what they planted in his house. So,
exactly.
They find there's something that, they stick some little microfilm or whatever they have these days, probably a thumb drive, stick it under a couch somewhere.
Sure.
Next thing you know, they're saying, no, he did this. And I'll tell you, the part that concerns me most is the leftist minions, the ones who still believe a man can become a woman. They still believe the vaccines cure people. They still believe that socialism leads to utopia. We could go down the list, and they're the ones, oh, no, this was legitimate. And there's Liz Cheney right in the midst of them, attacking people who are criticizing the FBI, as if we haven't seen enough really malicious things from the FBI, the DOJ, the IRS over the years, and now much even worse there. And yeah, she's going to try and give them credit.
Did you see Dick Cheney ad on Fox News?
I haven't seen the ad itself. I've seen references to it, but I want to tell you about something. I may have brought this up before, but now that this ad is out, it's worth repeating again. Is that in 2014, Liz Cheney suddenly shows up in Wyoming. She gets a house in Jackson, which Jackson is that's like the leftist jet set of Wyoming. It's all the elitists there. She gets a house there, claims she's a Wyoming resident, and she runs for Senate with zero political background of any sort, totally on the family name. She's running against a reliable conservative, Mike Enzi, who'd been in there since
I remember him.
2006. Always a good conservative, a good guy. She's running against him. I'm not exaggerating here. Dick Cheney comes out and says she's the Tea Party candidate. Okay, now, in this very next breath, obviously they're willing to say the Tea Party is a bunch of domestic terrorists and stuff. Yeah. But at that point, he's going to say she's the Tea Party candidate. The truth is that people like this, when they have no scruples, when they have no goal in their life other than climbing that political ladder, they will say and do anything. And she is no different than the leftist Democrats on this. I don't care if she puts 1,000 R's behind her name. She's a rhino of the worst sense. So's Dick Cheney. A lot of us stood with him when the left was attacking him, during the Gulf War and all that, or during the Gulf War and then the war on terror. But they're showing at this point they're deep state goons and nothing more.
Well, did they not just guarantee that Trump would be the not only the nominee in 2024? I mean, I don't think he's. He might actually announce this before 2022, and the sooner the better, I think. Because let them try to do what they're doing. They're trying to get him accused of a crime that's going to prevent him from from running. Okay, so I think that they're going for this, and they're going to try. They're going to try something. I don't know what it is, but you don't know what it is. I'm not sure they even know what it is. But when they have this raid that is totally unprecedented, and they kick the lawyers that were there out of the house, okay, and they're looking for allegedly specific stuff, would take maybe an hour at the most, and they take like 10 hours or whatever they took, or 6 to 8 hours. I don't know.
Going through Melania's clothes.
I'm sure the nuclear codes are being held by Melania's underwear, right?
Yeah, there's been jokes about that Rachel Levine wanting to upgrade his styles, and that's why that they're
nobody knows who he is. All right, that's a transgender who is in the Biden administration.
It's a he. It's a psychotic he. Yeah, and that's all I'm ever going to give that kind. But you're talking something really, really dangerous here. You're talking something that it reflects third world tin horns in the way they're operating. Here's the problem that they face from their perspective. The only thing keeping them from total control, from total absolute Nazi-like despotism, is the Second Amendment. They've got to get around that somehow, right? And they're working on that. Now, at the same time, during the same period, we're seeing this abomination being committed, not against Trump, but against the Constitution and the American people. At that very same time, you have this bill passed for these 87,000 IRS so-called agents. Now, let's just do a little logistical analysis here. Let's say it took 50 people to support this raid on Trump, along with the 30 criminals who actually broke in and perpetrated the raid. Let's say that's about 80 people there. What that means is that this new hiring of these IRS agents, and they're not accountants, these people are being asked if they'd be able to use weapons and deadly force against. So you would have 80 of these people could organize a raid of this kind at any given time. You could organize 1,000 of these raids at any given time when this force comes into effect. Yeah. This is their effort to forcibly suppress us. You remember during the Obama years that he kept talking, he had this dream of this, quote, civilian police force.
It was in the Obamacare plan. I found it, and then it disappeared.
I now that you mentioned, I'd forgotten that, but yeah, he had this dream of this civilian, and people kept saying, "Wait, we've got a military. Why would you need a civilian police force?" Well, here's the thing: there's one difference, count them, one, between the U.S. military and a civilian police force. Yeah, and that is that the guns that those people are carrying are pointed at us.
That is exactly what I was thinking, and I was thinking then, is that the guns aren't faced at our enemies; it's faced at us.
This IRS expansion, that's all it is. They couldn't, Obama, it was a little too much of a lightning rod at the time. He couldn't push it through.
But that's it. Now that's the point. You made the connection between Obama and what's going on right now. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and it keeps happening. We saw it in Afghanistan. We've seen it. I still get so frustrated when everybody starts talking about, well, Joe Biden thinks this and Joe Biden wants that. And Joe Biden is clueless. Let's come out and say it. Come on, people. It's the guy is not doing any of this, but there is a cabal there that is. And the more you watch this, as you said a second ago, it's got Obama's fingerprints all over it. It has that stench all over it.
Oh, yeah.
And this IRS thing is just the latest effort to get his federal Gestapo into place. And a couple of things happen with that. First of all, they're going to use taxes. Now, you're a business owner. How many of us have taxes we filed over the years, and it's like, could they find something wrong with it? You bet they could. And like we saw in Florida, they could plant stuff if they take enough time.
Yeah.
Who's off the radar screen then? None of us. We're all threatened by this. Okay, so now they start using this, and they say, oh, Dave Weinbaum just said something that the Biden cabal doesn't like. Dave Weinbaum, we're going to do a tax audit on him. We find that 5 years ago, he had a thing where he forgot to declare 3 hamburgers that he had for lunch. And so now we're going to go after him as a felon. What happens to you? You start backing off. Now I'm watching you. I'm going, wow, they did that to Dave Weinbaum. I better not come talk to Dave Weinbaum.
Well, thanks for making me the example for all this. I'm coming for you. All right, now wait a minute. Let me tell you about my career with the IRS. Okay, I've been in business 51 years. 51 years. I've been examined a couple of times. You know how much money I had to pay to the IRS? $200. $200 in all those years, over half a century.
And think of all the hoops you had to jump through that whole time because of all the what ifs. And the reason,
I have an accountant. My accountant keeps the books.
You should be thanking me here because the reason I am using you as the example is because if they do at this point, we can say, hey, we predicted this. It was politically motivated. And that's what needs to happen. That's like the people.
Well, you got to fight. Your point is you got to fight this.
Absolutely.
You got to fight back. You can't back down because that's how they get you is when you quit.
When you quit or when you try to color inside the lines that they define for you. Just, again, the same subject this week. Christopher Wray. Does he come out and say we're going to look into this out-of-line unconstitutional abomination to the law that happened in Mar-a-Lago? Does he say that? No. He comes out and he makes a statement attacking those who are criticizing the FBI.
He executed
They're now guilty of hate crimes. And by golly, maybe they're the ones we need to look at next. In other words, he is part of this deep state that's doing this, and he needs to be called out. And when the time comes that we get to investigate that, we actually get the Congress, we actually get to start looking into this. And I say when that time comes, because if it doesn't, America is over. When that time comes, you need to get everybody who is guilty at the FBI, from the janitor who knew about it and didn't bother to tell anybody about it, all the way up to Ray himself, because everybody who's involved in this is guilty of a crime against the American people, a high crime against the American people.
Yeah.
And then who has oversight over the FBI? The Department of Justice.
Sure.
Go after Merrick Garland. He's doing the same thing. He's trying to cover for this whole thing.
Well, you need to go back.
We follow it all the way to every guilty party.
You need to follow it all the way back to the Obama administration, Obama-Biden administration.
That's right.
Because they started all the surveillance with their DOJ back in 2015. When
they were the ones who weaponized the IRS with Lois Lerner. Remember her?
Oh, sure.
We don't hear about her. Jeff Sessions, who was the Trump Attorney General, just said, no, we're not going to look into that.
Yeah,
now, how many times can you and I break and enter into somebody's house, steal a car or anything like that, and the local district attorney just says, I'm not going to look at it.
Well, you're the one living in Wyoming being an Italian. You know that, for goodness sakes.
Oh boy! I think I'll file that one as a hate crime.
Now wait a minute. Here I've got a quote. I've written about 47,000 original quotes and jokes, but this one: those who let things happen lose to those who make things happen. Good, bad, or evil. That's about the way life is, isn't it?
You remember Dietrich Bonhoeffer's quote, this famous quote where he says, silence in the face of evil is itself evil.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where we're at, because we really don't want to do this. I talk to fellow Christians. I don't want to get political.
You're right.
And things like this. And what you're saying is, here's the open door to the enemy to attack us.
Yeah, and a lot of people are walking around, smart people from the university out here. There's, I see them on the golf course. And they're saying, this stuff, it's just terrible on both sides.
Yeah, that's
I said, what are you talking about? Well, it has to be even somehow.
You know what?
For them,
When
they
you're
got
nailing it,
PhDs.
you're nailing it today, Dave. I'll even put up with a bad joke or two after this because you are nailing it right now.
Oh, kiss my grits with the bad jokes. My jokes are great.
All right. One of the things that I talked about in my book, you got my book there?
Now you got to hold up the book. Now, after insulting me,
I'm telling you how. Let me tell you, Dave could have written a better book than this. How's that? Because Dave just nailed it. One of the topics that I went into that's a worthy topic maybe for its own book is the phony moral equivalencies. This is one of their best tricks that they pull on us. It's like if we get to do the right thing, then they get to do the wrong thing because they're equal. And you see this in Fox where it's fair and balanced, right? Balance between what? Truth and lies, right and left, right and wrong. You know, we're not looking for balance. We're looking for truth. Oh, well, that's biased to the right. No, we're looking for the facts. And on all of these issues, if we take a pro-Constitution stand, then that's the right thing for us to do. Well, then they can take an anti-Constitution stand, and that's okay for them because there's some sort of moral equivalency there. No, they're not. If they're going to tell lies, they're liars. They have no moral standing, and we need to call them out that way every time.
And it's a particular lie in their position because they have the power. Now, let me just point to one thing that Merrick Garland got into in his very, very limited little dally as a sort of a explanation of what the hell went on, and we still don't have that.
His pathetic, desperate mea culpa.
He played the straw man game. How dare the people raise up against the FBI?
Mm-hmm.
How dare they talk about how awful the FBI is. These are legitimate people. I said, well, who's yelling that? We're yelling at you, you dummy.
Well, I'll tell you what, here again, I won't hesitate to tell Merrick Garland when the FBI breaks the law, when the FBI abominates the Constitution, everybody involved there, including those, like you mentioned a minute ago, who just passively allow it, everybody involved there is a criminal. One of the things that happened with the FBI is that they fell into this moral equivalency thing where if we're going to have conservatives in here who uphold the Constitution, then we've got to be fair and balanced. We got to bring in leftists who hate the Constitution because we have to have a proper political mix here. That's like saying if you're going to have law enforcement people, you got to have criminals in there too. And this is how they got these leftist insurgents in there. And when you have a high standard and low standard, this is something the Republican Party is famous for. We accept all points of view. We accept a conservative one and we'll accept a liberal one too. You have a high standard and a low standard and you embrace them on an equal basis. Only the lowest standard prevails. And so that's how we've got a corrupt FBI.
All these FBI agents, and a lot of them are starting to leak now. Senator Grassley has a couple of whistleblowers from the FBI that wrote him a letter that's very interesting. So they all signed up they all said an oath for domestic and foreign to uphold the Constitution from attack from domestic and foreign enemies.
All enemies.
Right, all enemies.
Domestic, yep.
Not from the interior, not from people who are kvetching about their government, who are voting in their government, who are saying things based on their right to say it in the First Amendment and vote for it.
Exactly.
Another First
we
Amendment
the founders
right.
who instituted the Constitution and Bill of Rights that said we recognize that people who complain about faults in their government, who have a redress of grievances, are good citizens. They are not domestic terrorists. Now we have the left redefining that to where if you criticize anything they do, you're on the domestic terrorist list. You saw the flags that they said a couple of weeks ago that indicated domestic terrorists. It was that "Don't Tread on Me" flag. And it was the Betsy Ross flag, which, by the way, Christopher Ray, if you're listening, I fly that every holiday where we fly the flag. I put out my Betsy Ross flag.
There you go. And you're making yourself the victim, whereas before I was the victim.
No, I'm telling these people, as you said, that we have got to stand and we've got to let them know that we, the American people, aren't going to accept this. So right you're now, a fellow patriot, and that's the reason I support you in that. We've got to make sure that our fellow citizens understand that if we start one and two at a time being afraid of what they're doing and backing away from it, we leave those who are standing out. They're hung out to dry at that point. Well, what these people are most afraid of is, and the reason they keep talking January 6th, is they're most afraid of the American people rallying together and saying, you know what, we don't accept this from you anymore. And so they got to keep us divided, keep us scared.
I think we are doing that. I think we're saying that now, but saying it ain't enough. It's not enough. You gotta have some brass balls to get in there and really meddle with them legally. All right, and we have to have Republicans representing us that are going to follow through on their promises to shut down the government if need be, and get rid of this crap. Get rid of these 87,000 newly armed
that needs to be done.
IRS.
And again, we need to go into this criminal Biden cabal and find out who it was in there that put this atrocity together. And those people are the domestic terrorists. Those people are the threat to the Constitution.
Well, they were real terrorists. Remember the Bill Ayers guy that remember Louis Farrakhan supporting Obama?
And here again, I'll go back to that moral equivalency thing that you so presciently brought up a few minutes ago, is that if we can put a guy out here like Arnold Schwarzkopf, we can put people out here like Kristi Noem that speak about fighting for America and fighting for the Constitution and upholding our liberties, then they're on the same moral ground to put these monsters out there like Bill Ayers and Louis Farrakhan. No, there's no moral equivalency there.
No.
And you people are the real terrorists, and we have got to say so. And we've got to root out this cancer. And like any cancer, if you leave half the tumor in there, what happens?
Oh, it grows and you die.
It grows right back.
Yeah. So. Terrible. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and buy your book?
Well, my book is still at Amazon. You go to Amazon.com and you do a search on Rules for Defeating Radicals or on my name, Christopher Adamo, and it'll bring it up. And then, yes, we have DaveWeinbaum.net, GOPUSA.com, and the other one is the America First Report. That's J.D. Ruckers. He does a great job there, and you ought to link up with him if you can.
I know you keep telling me this.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's these days we call him a firebrand. He's a truth speaker. You'd like him.
Okay, well, no, I don't like truth speakers. I got you.
I don't know how to take that one.
Neither do I. I just said it.
And on Facebook and also on DaveWeinbaum.net, the link to Chris's book through Amazon is there. You can just click it, take you right to it.
There you go.
Oh, great.
So,
and I'll tell you something, the whole message of the book in 3 words is stay on target. That's the biggest thing that we can do. That's the biggest thing. If you look at this whole effort that they're doing right now in the wake of this Mar-a-Lago fiasco, is to get us off message. Maybe he's got nuclear secrets, blah, blah. Stay on target, America.
Right. And you could tell that they were shocked I think they were really shocked at the reaction. They don't understand the American people. They think we all hate Donald Trump now.
They talk to themselves on a lot of these things, and yeah, you're right. They do get sequestered from reality. But the other thing that they're planning on, and I think they have a good historical track record on which to gamble this, is that we get mad, we get really fired up, and then we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, we can't do that anymore.
We have no latitude left to surrender.
We have to fix the problem.
Yep.
We got to fix this problem in hand. We can't ignore it and walk around it because there is no walking around it. We got to come right at the middle of it and stop it. This is not America. What they're doing is not America.
Right.
And it was never meant to be that like that.
There is no moral equivalency where if we get to uphold the Constitution, they get to trash it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Chris, I quit. I used to be a divorce lawyer. I quit my job. I had too many splitting headaches. Well, of course he's not going to laugh. Thanks a lot.
Well, why say it?
Well, because eventually he does laugh at certain things. You're a challenge. What can I tell you? All right, my friend.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks.
Have a great weekend and keep fighting the good fight.
Well, thanks for being a great guest on the Dave Weinbaum Show, and I mean that sincerely, even though you are replacing Elad Hakim and Cheryl Chumley this morning.
Oh, they're two great people.
That's right.
Get them on when you can.
I do, and you're always there for me, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a great
Keep
weekend.
it up. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. He's always, we do think alike. I mean, we do have a lot of the same thoughts, which is really weird. Don't you think?
I
a little bit.
Chris?
I agree to the weird part.
I mean, I wrote a big thing about, interviewing him, and usually I don't need any of this stuff.
Your
yes.
vocabulary isn't quite as superfluous as his is.
Superfluous?
Yes. Yes.
You sure that's what about yours? Huh?
I just used a word you don't know.
What did you forget this morning? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I just don't want to say. Ow, jeez, I can't say it.
Definitely didn't forget the whip.
Yeah, keep your arm down.
Thank goodness. Let me just take a big stretch right now.
Oh no! Should I tell the folks what you forgot?
I think I'm wrong. I think I did apply deodorant today.
Of course. Let me move my chair over a little bit. Okay.
Oh, I love on you when you come straight off the golf course.
Well, I know that. So
right.
I'm not being
sweaty, man.
Well, I think you like my sweat.
Oh, good grief.
Are
we gonna talk about pheromones too?
Pheromones, yeah, that's what they are. Yeah.
Thank God Dr. Amy's on next.
Dr. Amy, tell us about pheromones. That's great. All right, let's do our second set of commercials after we do a bit. Hey, let's do a Sicilian bit. What the hell? Let's do that. Hear about Hooters Golf Tour? Yeah, they call their competitors knockers. Forget about it. Hey, we're talking about golfers here. What's in your mind? Come on, man. And the Hooters, they did back a golf league. This is a true story. Okay? So get your mind off of what you're thinking about there. And I'm a golfer. I'm a knocker. Okay? I knocked the ball. Get it? I knocked the ball. All right. Enough of that. Ow. Ow.
We already covered weird,
okay,
didn't we? We covered weird already.
Well, now that you have covered a lot of different things, let's go back to my notes then. Talking about sports and golf and knockers for that matter, in one of the best series in history of the St. Louis Cardinals, they swept the best team in baseball, the New York Yankees. And that was right after sweeping the Cubs. They're in first place right now. They lost a couple of games to Colorado, but they're looking good. My goodness, that they're being well managed. They got some players back. They traded Bader. Mm-hmm. They got this great pitcher off of the New York Yankees. I forget his name. What's his
Jordan
name?
Montgomery.
My goodness, he's good. And we got the best reliever in the business, this Helsley guy.
Oh, he's great.
He's got a ERA under 1.
I was really mad at first when I heard they traded Bader. And I've got friends of mine that are big baseball guys, and they said, "You don't know much about Jordan Montgomery, do you?" I said, "No." Is he like a prospect or something? They're like, "No. He's a Yankees starting pitcher. He's a young left-hander."
Yeah. Why who did they got Bader for him?
Yep.
That was dumb.
So what they did was, by doing that, this kid has like the highest ground ball rate in the majors.
Yeah.
And when you have a Gold Glove infield around you, he's been really good so far.
And we got Paul DeJong.
Yep.
DeJong back, and he's hitting really good. All right. We've got.
I don't think he wants to go back down to Memphis, so I think he's.
And whatever it was screwing up his. I mean, he was terrible. I think it was, and even his fielding was affecting it. He lost his confidence. Yep. You lose your mojo in areas where you're supposed to excel, like fielding too. And he's a great fielding shortstop now, and now he's got his mojo back. Yep. And with people like Edman and I'm forgetting. Oh, Wainwright is still effective. Mm-hmm. And Goldschmidt. By the way, did I mention that Goldschmidt is Jewish?
Yeah, and he's an MVP candidate.
Oh yeah, he's right up there with Judge. Mm-hmm. And he's consistent. Now Judge he's a freak. And Matt Carpenter played terrible for the Cardinals for the last 2 or 3 years. They put him in New York. That was one of the best moves for him. I don't know whether they traded him or got anything for him.
No,
or
they
what.
the
just
Cardinals didn't sign him. He was out there. Some other team had him. I think Texas for a little bit. He asked to be released, and then the Yankees just signed him, and he refound the fountain of youth somehow.
You know what? You know what he found? He found a right field fence. Yeah. That was about maybe 20 yards inside what the Cardinals fence is, and he started hitting the same balls to right field that they were catching in Busch Stadium, and he was hitting home runs.
He also found a ground ball on his toe the other day, and he broke his foot, and so he's now out for 6 to 8 weeks. That happened just the other day, so yeah.
All right. It was fun seeing him come back, and it was just a great battle between these two teams, and St. Louis is definitely on a good run right now.
I would not have predicted that sweep at all. No way to see it coming.
Well,
but
and it was
phenomenal.
Good baseball.
Yep.
It was good baseball, really. Okay, let's do a commercial break right now. We'll come back. I guess that was our session of the sports, because we have a guy here with a sports show. Tell him about your sports show.
Yeah, the season ticking on ESPN 104.9 every Tuesday from 5 to 6. And one thing I usually talk about every week while they're playing, the Cardinals are definitely a hot topic. So,
yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's hear the commercials.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word: crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we're back. Hi. You want to call the show, 573-578-2700. Okay, and or leave a message by
Facebook, Twitter, and also DaveWeinbaum.net.
So so who is the best tennis player ever, do you think? Serena? And she's going to retire. She's close.
Heard that.
She's won more majors than one person has.
Yeah, I don't remember who that person is.
An old-timer, I think. You got to say this about Trump. You know, his picks now, this is a very, very very interesting indicator that the earlier primaries that Trump had endorsed people with has worked 100%. I mean, this is before the raid. All right. Hey, you got a hello from good morning from Owen McNamee. Good morning, Patriots. Thank you so much. Here's a Patriot. He's always pushing my stuff, and I really appreciate his friendship. So that's a good guy right there. Anyways, so his picks like Michaels for Wisconsin, for I believe governor of Wisconsin, Leora Levy for Senate in Connecticut. Ilhan Omar almost lost to a fellow Democrat because of the police issue. And Representative Jamie Butler from Washington State conceded because she couldn't get away from the fact that she voted to impeach Donald Trump. So there's a lot of, this police thing is a big issue. They can claim it's not, but I realize that the economy, based on the inflation, is a huge deal. But also in these cities, these Dem-run cities, you could see some real big changes because of that, assuming we have elections that are reasonably honest. And we're going to have our next guest after Dr. Amy is going to be, again, it's going to be Jeff Zink, who's running for Congress in Maricopa County and was in charge of and knows more about the Arizona audit and any other audits that have gone on, the laws that are going into effect all over the swing states and or other states like Texas and that. He knows what's going on, and he's also an eyewitness. Him and his son. What's his son's name? Is it Stacy? I think it is.
I'm not recalling right now.
His wife's name is Stephanie.
Stephanie, yep.
Yeah. All right, so he's going to be on at 10:30, and that'll be interesting. I think he's got a few things, new things coming up. I'm getting a lot of scoops from him, for sure. And here's a surprise for you. Did you know that Rachel Maddow worked with and likes Tucker Carlson? When Carlson was going around CNN and he was MSNBC, they actually got along with each other, and she had a bunch of nice things to say about him. Ryan Zink is my son's name. Sorry. Okay. Well, he's listening to the show. Oh, my goodness. And he says, the greatest show on earth, the Dave Weinbaum Show. Well, thank you, my friend. Let's make you the best congressman on earth because we need you there. We need you on that wall. We want you on that wall, okay? He would make a great congressman, and he's got a lot of guts, as far as I can tell, and he's a smart guy. So Uma Pemaraju, she was one of the pioneers on Fox News, and she died just the other day, age 64. And she was a pioneer, and she was good. I mean, she was very talented. And she's dead now, and everybody's wishing her family well, as do I. And, the other thing I want to tell you about Fox is my friend, I don't want to call her anything else other than that, but my friend, and now I can't remember her name for some reason, has now gained the realm of Chris Wallace with a new show. And Shannon Bream has the Sunday morning show that Chris Wallace used to have. She's very smart. She's a lawyer, and she reports on the Supreme Court a lot. And when I went into Fox and started meeting all these people, she was the nicest person there was. I mean, she had her hair up in curls. This is 2006, I think it was. And she says, well, this is how the sausage is made. And we had conversations here and there. In one conversation, my then wife went into a hissy fit because she thought something was going on. I was just talking to her. Can you believe that, honey? What?
Come on, dear.
No, I was.
Look at both of them. Which one would be insecure?
Well, you know me. I don't play around. I didn't play around at anybody. So,
no, but
what?
I don't know that it didn't work the other way around.
Oh yeah, me neither. I'm not going to comment on that because no, I didn't exactly have any proof. Anyways, there's going to be a law in L.A. L.A. homeless has it's been voted there that the homeless have to stay away from schools and daycare. Gee, what do you think about that? A bunch of drug addicts, some of them, not all, but that's kind of dangerous, don't you think? Would you want your kids going to school, walking to school, with homeless people shooting up?
No.
Okay, and some people are having a little hissy fit about it. there because that's not the woke way to go, is it?
These are the same people that can't figure out sometimes if they're man or woman, so I don't really take their advice on anything at this point.
Exactly. They don't know what a woman is. You know? I mean, what is a woman? Incredible.
It's pretty simple. Look down, you can figure it out real fast.
Iran was going to they had sent hitmen to get Mike Pompeo and another guy that was in there, and I can't remember his name. He had a white mustache and stuff. He was in the Trump administration as revenge for a son of mine, the general who killed a bunch of Americans, and so now they have outed this event that Iran is taking, and I think it was stopped by the Biden administration because they want this new deal for Iran. You know, which is really stupid, don't you think? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm pretty sure. Within seconds now, I'm going to have Dr. Amy. Let's do the Brit. That way we'll have a good entrance for her. Hit it.
I love America. It's an amazing place. And do you know what I've come to realize, right? Americans, you basically do everything that we do, but you do it bigger and you do it better. Like, we have stupid people here. But your stupid people are world class. And that is not me saying, all Americans are stupid. No, America also has the smartest people on the planet. What I'm saying is that when America does stupid, you do stupid. Like, our village idiot is in a park shouting at clouds. Yours is president.
That doesn't grow old, does it?
It's getting pretty old for me.
Well, I'm sorry.
I mean, that we have the village idiot running the country.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. And when you said village idiot, you kind of hesitated a little bit, looking at me like I was that. I'm very.
I think you're overly sensitive.
I am very sensitive. I'm paranoid. You know what? And I'm not paranoid per se. I'm right on the borderline, though.
You are a little paranoid.
I'm right on the. You know what? When people are, that's why I'm doing this, because I am a little paranoid.
Honey, don't sell yourself short.
Having trouble joining. There she is. Ooh, she did it. Oh my goodness. All right, let's play her song, and that way she can relax a little bit while she's. Breathe deep.
I'm breathing.
Okay, good. Let's play your song.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, the only song that I play from beginning to end. Usually you're interrupted in the middle. And I get goosebumps listening to it. And it's done by who? Who did that song?
Me.
Yeah, okay. She's an expert on workplace issues. She's an author, singer, motivational speaker, star of radio and TV. Please welcome the official shrink to Dave Weinbaum show, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim. Hi, Dr. Amy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So, how far away are you from Mar-a-Lago?
Oh, not too far at all.
Oh, really? Yeah. Did you see the FBI guys going back and forth?
Yeah, we chatted up now.
Well, were they carrying any nuclear
like
weapons?
30 minutes or
Were they carrying any nuclear weapons or what?
Oh, gosh.
Okay, let's start here. Should we be friends with people at work?
It depends on the environment. So for instance, the people you work with, Dave, of course you should be friends with, right? You actually love some of them too. But in
How do you know that?
In the typical workplace, I actually argue that we should consider being friendly instead of true friends with the people we work with. Because unfortunately there are issues with boundaries and loyalties. So we need to remember that unless we can count on someone to have our back and perhaps even lose their job in order to support us, then they're probably not going to be in that friend category.
You got to really watch what you say these days, and you got to watch, you can't pat somebody on the back. You got to watch that stuff. It's, some employees come up and hug you, and certainly don't want to do that. Of course, my wife comes up and hugs me, and that's fine, but,
We would hope so.
I would hope so. But and I stopped all that. I mean, I don't. I'm just real careful about it. But we have a blast, and I tell funny stuff to them, and they tell funny stuff to me.
Sure.
Now, if they ever want to take me up on it, that's fine. I mean, I keep it under control. I keep it very unsexual. So, whatever. Anyways,
right. I mean, we need to enjoy working with the people that we spend time with, right? But there is that limit and that boundary that, unfortunately, I think I've seen it where I worked for a very large corporation, and I had people I was friendly with, even people I got to lunch with. But if it push came to shove, would they actually have my back? Would they stand up for me, or would they perhaps do something in their best interest, take a position or an opportunity that could help them to advance their career? So I have a handful of people I still stay in touch with, from my days back. And those people I would have over to a family barbecue. They're my friends.
Okay.
But otherwise, they're people I enjoy hanging out with, and you want to be in an environment where you enjoy the work culture, where you feel you want to come to work, where you want to talk about the game or, the most recent TV show you watch. That's awesome. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're in that true friend.
Speaking of TV shows, you ever watch the TV show called The Office?
I did, yes.
What do you think of that?
Well, it's almost tongue in cheek for people in my field.
I would expect that would be a number one show amongst people in your field, is it?
I mean, I actually watched a movie by the title in graduate school, and we had fun, breaking it apart. I have not personally watched many episodes of The Office, but when I've seen it, I chuckle, and definitely it's but it's sort of like doctors who don't watch medical shows. Yeah, right. That's sort of how I feel about The Office.
Anyways, so do you have any interview tips? I used to hire everybody until I got about 4 restaurants, my tips were this. I wanted to find out why they wanted to work there. I'd say, why do you want to work here? And if they said the money, and that was it, I said, any other reason? No, I just want the money. I generally, if I had another choice, let's put it that way, I don't have much choice these days, but if I had another choice, I would take that person because I wanted them to have fun. I wanted people who wanted to have fun doing this.
Sure,
I like the environment. I like the food. I like to move around a lot. I like flexible hours and stuff like that. That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
I mean, definitely someone going in for an interview should, do their homework before going in. What's the vision, the mission of the company?
Yeah.
What about the product or service is exciting enough, or making that person want to participate? And what can that person bring to the table that others might not? When I was interviewing for a particular position I was so excited about, I remember I researched. I knew about the CEO. I knew where the company was headed, so that I could say, I love this about it. And by the way, here's how I can help get you guys there.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Now this was
showing up on time. I mean, I think some people don't come dressed in a professional manner. They don't, come on time. They come with with stacks of paper or nothing. So just being prepared and looking and playing the part you wish to get.
So have you talked to Elad about dressing appropriately? Well, look at me. I'm wearing a T-shirt. I'm on a radio show or a podcast. Who cares? And I have a right to bear arms, for goodness sakes. Anyways, so if you want to quit your job, this is very important for people to understand, especially young people. If you want to quit your job, how should you go about it?
So the key thing, first off, is to look at your initial paperwork that you signed when you joined, right? Mm-hmm. Are you in a free fire state where you can be terminated at any time? Are you only perhaps going to have the opportunity to be terminated for poor behavior, or is there a process that your company needs to go through, or your leader needs to go through? If you don't want to be fired after saying, "Hey, I want to look for another job," then you need to be very careful with the way that you stage it. So first off, we have to have common respect for the place of employment. If we want to leave and we know that we're interested in finding something else, or if we are perhaps even more so wanting to test the waters to see if we could get that promotion, or that better salary, or that better job space, that job role, then perhaps we want to say, I want to share that here's where I hope to be in a year, in 5 years. And I would love to stay with the company if I can move on that trajectory. Is that a possibility? That would then allow for the boss to say, oh gosh, Amy's really interested in this role. Amy wants to stay with us, but we're not satisfying her at this level. So can we meet her needs? If it's like, oh my gosh, this is the worst place I've ever worked for, I don't want to be here another second, and you're ready and you have your money saved on the side so you can pay your bills in the meanwhile while you're looking for a job, and you need to just quit, you could do that. But ideally, there should be somewhere in the middle, right? I really wish I could get to this point, but because we're not here yet, this is not working out for me. So I'd like to let you know that I am interviewing and looking for other opportunities, and I would like to formally give you my 2-week notice.
Okay.
So, saying something like that.
See, that's a key to me. I used to ask the question in the old days when we had an economy and you could find help. One of my questions was, how did you leave your last job?
Yeah.
And, maybe some of them got fired, and I need to know the reason. But if they said I just left without notice, I generally didn't hire them. Why would I?
It's just not courteous. And I think so many people, we live in this age of entitlement where, especially the younger generation, it's like, oh, you're not doing what I need you to do, I'm out. And there's not an accountability. Unfortunately, there isn't much accountability or commitment in either direction, right? Company to employee or employee to company. But the idea of standing and leading by example in that way, and saying, hey, I just want to be upfront with you. Because what happens if you're interviewing for a position and the CEO of that company or the manager you're interviewing with happens to be buddies with the person you currently work with? It gets very sticky and muddy, and the world is really a small place, especially with social media and LinkedIn connections and things like that. It's so much better to be upfront and share. And you never know, maybe your boss would surprise you or even offer to give a recommendation. Sorry, it didn't work out,
Sure.
but I really appreciate how well you work here. And if you need anything, let me know.
And I've done that.
That's a positive way to end.
I've done that with employees that leave with, in good standing.
And with dignity, right?
Yeah.
Dignity on both sides, yeah.
Sure, and I would hire them back, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how you want to lead, right?
Yeah.
That's how you want to lead. That's how you want to lead.
My wife wants to tell you about
what
an excellent boss I am. Now, shut her.
I want to know if you would hire me back. I want to know if you would hire me back.
I did, kind of. Wait a minute, that's wrong. I apologize. No, ow! See,
sorry, Amy.
Ow!
I'm sorry.
Are you supposed to whip your spouse?
No,
Stop it.
Maybe somewhere else, but not here.
You think we're doing this for fun? She thinks we're doing it for fun. I don't know about her. I don't know what's going on with that. So how do you deal with leaders who have no respect for you?
I think that is something oftentimes that is really an internal issue with the leader, him or herself. If a leader can't show respect to the people who work for him, then that leader may not feel pretty good about himself in general. So, you have to decide if you want to take that and how long you need to take that before moving on.
We experienced that when I was in the radio station way back when, about 4 years ago or so. And we experienced that guy who my assignment was to get somebody for a spot on a show before my show. And it was you. I picked you. Okay. And then the new manager comes in and says, you have to cancel that spot. I said, what do you mean cancel it? He says, call her up and tell her that she's not doing it. I said, I'm not going to do that. You do it. And finally I said, I listened to my better inside and said, you know what, this woman doesn't deserve this treatment, so I'm going to call her. And I did, and I called you and said, I can't do that, and I'm very sorry about it, and I think you accepted my apology.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, well, you're here, so I guess after all these years you've forgiven me. Thank goodness. I have. It's water under the bridge. But I said a few nasty things, and pretty soon I was canceled.
Well, and
that's fine, and it was fine with me. Okay, I was there for over 10 years.
And that's the issue. There's no loyalty anymore. No loyalty anymore. Our grandparents stayed with companies during the recession. Sure. Even when they lost, major pay, no one was fired. People were staying on for pennies because they had that commitment to the organization, and the organization had the commitment to them. We don't see that anymore. And so leaders who truly demonstrate care, leaders who show that their employees matter, that they do respect them, actually gain that respect in return. So it is a two-way street, and I think people forgot that somewhere along the line.
Well, we're going to get a little bit now into an area that you love. A little political, not much. But how has the pandemic affected workers and businesses?
It's really interesting to see the way that we were able to completely conduct business effectively, even though we were not in person. I think that was a huge trend, and there's been a push for work-life balance, creating more flexible scheduling, allowing for remote work. And there's been this push for maybe 15, 20 years. But really the pandemic showed that in many instances, leaders are able to still effectively run their organizations, despite the fact that people aren't in one brick and mortar environment. So that's been key. Obviously there were certain industries where that didn't work, certain industries and organizations that fell, due to the pandemic. But I think there's been a lot of good that's come from, even now, what's considered a hybrid work environment.
Yeah, and that I realize that there's been a sea change, and it's never going to go back to what it was, because you're still going to have a lot of people doing. Oh, wait a minute! Wait a minute here! Wait a minute! He's supposed to be at his doctor's appointment, and he's sitting there talking to you. Oh my God! Can he say anything? I don't know. I don't think so. But you have a message for your husband?
Oh, who do I love?
Oh my gosh! Now it's turning into a soap opera here.
But see,
it was canceled.
About love and happiness. That is what the world needs more of.
Yeah, here's something. You know what? I don't have a lawyer today on this show, and I wanted him on the show, and he says I have to go to the doctor. He's writing 8 columns on this thing this week or something, and I wanted your husband on the show, and now his appointment was canceled? Why should I suffer? Why should I suffer? Anyways, I need a session with you just on that. Oh,
you got it.
So if inflation is 0, why do we need an inflation reduction bill?
I do not want to comment on that.
See, there you go. Okay, I've overstepped my boundary. I was pretty good about the rest of it, though, right?
Excellent.
Thank you.
You were great, Dave.
All right, thanks for the input on what
it's really fun to talk about things I know about too.
Well, you wrote to me, and I pretty well stuck to the script, didn't I?
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, and your husband is doing more commenting on you.
What is he doing?
We don't what? We don't. Inflation is not 0. Now he's chiming into your slot here. Oh, this is terrible. You ought to be. I mean, you guys need counseling. That's what I think. So other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and hire you?
Well, thank
not
you.
You, Elad. You had your shot.
Strategic Group. I'm sorry?
I said, not you, Elad. You had your shot.
Wait, your turn. So CooperStrategicGroup.com, AmyCooperHakim.com. Those are my web pages. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Amy Cooper Hakim.
You know, Dr. Amy, I used to be a professional limbo dancer. I like the flexible hours. There you go. Good. Thank you for the laugh. Because he was giving me crickets all day.
Reboost your ego there just a little bit. So
all right, thanks. I appreciate it. And if Elad wanted us, I've got about 10 minutes now. What else do we have to do? If Elad
wait for Jeff, basically. Yeah.
All right. If Elad wants to call, talk to him.
Oh, I will tell him.
Tell him.
I will tell him.
Is
so nice
he's listening, I think. So
I think he was. I don't know if he's listening right now.
Yeah, maybe not.
But if he wants to, you want to send him something or what? Or just have him call? Or he can is he at home?
He's at home.
Oh, he's at home.
Oh. Yes, he is.
Oh, I thought he went to the doctor.
Echoing in the
oh, yeah, put him on if you can. If you don't go to.
I will. Let me see.
I got a couple of minutes before him and Jeff Zink come on, so this is interesting. This is like going on the fly here.
Okay,
right here.
I just texted him. Join the show.
Join the show. Yes, and make sure you put it in such a way it's an order. It's not. Okay. You're not asking him. It's an order. He's on the show anyways. He meddled in your showtime.
I know. What's up with that?
Yeah, there you go.
You know, it's so important though to have that dialogue and to be open to change and flexibility.
Yeah.
So I just I don't know if he's actually on a different call now, but I did text him, and okay. I will go see if he can.
I went ahead and sent him an invite so he can join it with the cam if he wants to. So we'll just.
Okay. Okay. Excellent.
Well, their house is so big; it's bigger than Mar-a-Lago, so it could take him like a week to get there. You know, right?
He said he wants to call in. What's the number?
573-578-2700. All right, great. If you're willing to stay, you can stay too.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Sure. You know, I think it's fascinating. And Dave, I appreciate that we didn't go political for my time with you, because I really don't have the background and the true research and insight to support anything that I share from a political standpoint. It's literally just my gestalt, which I think is okay too. I mean, that's the general populace, right? But I can't necessarily speak to different things aside from, gosh, this made me feel happy, or man, I really support this person because. And I think that's important to hear too. Oh, there we go.
Wait a minute. I got some hoodlum wearing the same shirt I'm wearing right now. And
do you notice his poster in the background?
I can't see that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he's got a little American flag there, right? Is that
Trump?
That's Trump. I wonder who he's for. My goodness. All right, Elad. I don't have anything prepared for you, but what's your latest take on the fiasco that has become our government in terms of the raid?
Bad news. Just wait. Did you hear that Trump asked that they release the documents?
Yeah.
Trump demanded that they release the documents, and they should. And by the way, they should also release the affidavit, which they won't.
What's the difference between an affidavit and a warrant? What?
Yeah, basically what they're doing is they're saying, we'll see what they release, but they're saying they're going to release the warrant, assuming everyone is okay with it, and a list of what was taken. So, but what we want to see is the affidavit. We want to see who is what are the grounds, who provided the information to allow them to do what they did. They came out and said there are reports now. Did you hear the latest reports?
Yeah.
Reports of nuclear codes. So let's see what they got. And Trump, came out right away last night and said, show us the money. Show us the docs. Release them immediately. Don't let anyone – don't take your time so that we can begin to question whether or not things are kind of being fudged. Release them.
The pressure is on them, and he's turned it on them as he should have.
Absolutely.
But if you look at the way that society takes these little clips, these bleeps on social media, it's insane. You see the left, even some others, that's the purpose, I think, of this. This was a facade. This was some type of blitz to cause doubt and to make people question and wonder, is there really an issue here? And I think that the protests that you see outside of Mar-a-Lago, fascinating, because you've got, both sides there.
So you had both. Tell me about that. I didn't hear about that. There was a rally or a protest at Mar-a-Lago.
I don't know. The word may not allowed. You can probably speak to it more specifically.
There were people outside protesting the night of the raid. There were people outside protesting in favor of Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, people are ticked off, and whether it's Republicans or Democrats, this is and it backfired on them big time. But this is think about what happened here. If they did this to a former president this has never happened before, by the way.
Right.
They went ahead and raided the house of a former president looking for documents. It's not like he was storing, God forbid, some sort of explosive device, God forbid. All right. They said it was not only did they come with 30 plus agents. Okay. They did so on a quote unquote emergency basis, right? That's what he said yesterday. We couldn't wait and we couldn't do anything. There were no less intrusive means to do it, which is, it sounds like a crock. Okay. Because from what I heard, the warrant was signed on Friday and was executed on Monday. What kind of emergency is that?
Yeah, exactly.
On top of that, we're a year and a half plus removed from Trump's presidency, and there's nuclear documentation, and they wait a year and a half?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
They just found out.
That's an emergency?
Here's what they could have done. They might have planted something there. I mean, they kicked out the lawyers that happened to be there. They wouldn't let the lawyers back inside the house. They made them go outside and sweat in the heat and all that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, listen, if they have, if the video cameras were on and there were cameras recording what they did, and I don't know what if that's true or not. We'll see. But the bottom line is this: if they could do it to him, they could do it to anybody else. It doesn't matter what political affiliation. If you and I wrote about this, it's absolute allegiance or nothing, okay, or bust. There's no middle ground.
Right.
If you don't believe that, ask Joe Manchin, who until he wimped out recently with this ridiculous killer of a spending bill, which is going to kill everybody basically with taxes. All right. He was strong against the initial version of the bill, and then he wimped out because he's a Democrat at the end of the day.
Did he wimp out, or did he not know what he was doing? I suspect he knows what he's doing.
Guy. He probably pressured what's her name? Was it is it Cinema?
Cinema. Out of Arizona.
So no, he's not. He's no dummy. He probably felt pressure. Okay, immense pressure from those higher ups, and that's what it is. It's absolute allegiance or bust.
Now we're all Jewish here. What do you think of the new thing coming out that Merrick Garland is now a subject of anti-Semitism from Trump supporters?
Well, I think that is. I think that's wrong. Regardless, I mean, listen,
of course. But we're Trump supporters and we're Jewish.
Yeah,
I'm confused. Dr. Amy, help me. I'm confused.
It's all about facade, and it's all about the image. And I think we need to just be very, very careful where we listen to the media, where we listen to the news, and make sure that we're thinking and looking at facts. I can't help but think of those. I appreciate very much that there are two camps. But I think that there are more than two camps. I think that there are those who are more perhaps like me, not as well versed in politics, who still can shake their heads and go, oh my gosh, this is not right. Dave, you play the song, I'm proud to be an American, because I am. Sure. And when I grew up, I learned about the democratic process. And, you fight for your side. You fight. You hope your side wins. But when your side doesn't win, you swallow and you move on and you support whoever isn't in office. And we haven't seen that. We didn't see that with Trump. Now Trump's not even in office and people are still, badgering him and trying to smear him. If there's somebody who did something incorrectly, they need to be, reprimanded. Fine. But how do we stand behind someone if we're in that more moderate type of a vibe, right? Where we're able to say, okay, I may not like the person who's in office, but I'm going to support them. When that person ultimately has to be responsible for the decisions and the choices that are made under his administration.
I'm sorry. I disagree with Amy on that. All right. There is no way that I'm going to support Joe Biden. Okay. I will support the office of the presidency. Okay. I will. And I respect the office of the presidency, but I have zero respect for Joe Biden and I have zero support for him. And to take it a step further, and we talk about this at home, I don't want to deal with most Democrats these days. And I posted a question yesterday. All right, don't feed me that you can be close friends with Democrats now who are taking it upon themselves to vote for a party that's killing our country and hurting us and people that we love. So don't give me that. All right, the days of being able to overlook our differences, those days are gone. Okay, these days the differences are so vast, and the values and the morals and the approach to the way we handle things are so different that there is no middle ground anymore. There just isn't. And I'm sorry, I know it's a harsh view, but that's the view I take. There is simply no way to be close with those who are enabling and facilitating the destruction of this country and making our lives hell.
No, I have a
on the table.
I have a kinesiologist coming on the show,
you, Jeff.
And you know what? I think he can help you guys. He writes, "What a great couple." Jeff, why don't you join the party? Can he?
And you know what, Dave, Amy, we agree on most things fundamentally. Although I am more socially conservative than a lot of my Republican.
You don't
friends.
have to apologize.
But we have our disagreements. I am much more to the right than Amy is.
I would consider myself moderate in approach. Hi, Jeff.
I think Jeff, we need some help here. By the way, he's a kinesiologist and he's also he's a pastor, believe it or not. And I'd like to, people know him now. In fact, I gotta go here. We let's see. He's a preacher. He was a top division football player in college, NCAA Division I referee in basketball, and he was head of the Arizona audit. And he's an eyewitness to 1/6. So, if you have any comments about this little, disagreement here, I'm sure they'd be happy to hear you.
Is he a marriage?
I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I have never had this many people on the show.
This is a first.
This is a first. All right, Jeff, go back and tell us what's going on.
Well, actually, the great thing about having couples and stuff and disagreements and things like that is the fact that that's what brings spice of life. If you don't take yourself that serious, my wife and I, we've been together a little over 11 years. We've never had an argument. The reason why is she's always right. So these are types of tips that was handed down by my father. He said, do you want to have a wonderful life or do you want to be right? So, that's just kind of how you have to look at it.
That was pretty good advice. What do you think,
Dave,
Dr. Amy?
I'm going to get off. I don't want to take Jeff's time. Jeff, great seeing you. Have a great weekend. Amers, I'll see you in a minute.
I'll see you in a minute.
Bye, Amers!
Bye.
I think you chickened out there. I think you chickened out. Okay, thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, now we can play his song. How about that? Hit it.
My daddy served in the army. We lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in our yard. Till the day that he died, he wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. Soon as we could see clearly through our big black eyes.
Okay, I've already introduced you. Let's get right to it. This is Jeff Zink. He's a congressional candidate for Congress in Maricopa County. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, well, we've got a bunch of stuff that is taking place. What's really interesting is that all of these other states are now starting to reach out to Arizona to find out what we had. And it's kind of funny that all of a sudden Michigan has Supreme Court got flipped. And they came to us and said, hey, what's going on? We started saying, here's what you need to look at, what's going on. And it was funny that there's an article in the Gateway Pundit, and it said bombshell evidence shows Michigan Supreme Court race in 2020 was flipped. Well, we actually, showed them, and then they turned around and mentioned, and it's always funny that now that what was misinformation was, garbage and everything else is now quoted by the Michigan that was used, that the 263,000 corrupted images that was used by the Dominion machines weren't mentioned, by the auditors or anything else, but we did mention it. The problem is that when we did a report, that when it was turned in, it was redacted and done. And people need to understand that the margin of error, or I'd say error because it is an error, but the margin between Biden and Trump in Arizona was just over 11,000. Right. I say 10,000, but it's 11 because after we did the audit, we found 1,120 or 54 more ballots for Biden. And they said, well, see, he won. Nothing to see here, go away. But the fact is that, again, what I've always stated, if you have $1,000 and 400 of it is monopoly money, and you take all that down to the bank and you deposit it, how much money do you really have? And what people are asking is, well, then what are the denominations of the monopoly money? Well, it doesn't matter. It's not real money. Well, okay. That's the thing.
You conflated Michigan and Arizona. So let's go back to Michigan.
Okay.
You say the Supreme Court has flipped. Flipped from what to what?
All right. So they had 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. When now that they have discovered that election was corrupted, what they realized is that the Supreme Court justice for Michigan was now turned from 2 Republicans to 3 Democrats. So now it's a Democratic stronghold. With the 3, they can get their leftist ideas through in Michigan and stuff. And so this is an issue. Now they've uncovered it. What do they do, and how do they go back? Because if and this is what we're stating with a lot of our elected officials here, once you realize that you have been elected falsely, then you are in a sitting position that you have to now do the right thing, or all of the things that you have passed can be undone because of a corrupt election. That means that when we go back, and we've had several of the GOP parties, Texas, Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania have all stated that they want to decertify or nullify, depending on your constitution, the Electoral College votes.
Where is this in the news?
Well, it's not, and they're not going to do this. Again, we have a media. Truly, this is the reason why you're the greatest show on earth, and because you're telling the truth. You're actually.
Well, I have guys like you telling the truth. I have people like you telling the truth who are doing it without fear of you being canceled somehow. Twitter is now saying that they're coming into election season, that they're not going to put up with anything about the election and things like that, you see?
Right.
So they're going back into their mode of suppression, so to speak, to put it nicely. So,
well, and since you brought up suppression, anybody can look up on Katie Hobbs's website there, which is the Arizona Secretary of State. Look at my race. If you go to ABC and pull up, all you have to do is type in Arizona primary election 2022. Go down and take a look. What you will find, which is very interesting, and this will give you an insight of what's going on. So when you look at the governor results, all right, the Democrat, they're setting at 99% of the ballots being counted. The Republican, it again is setting at 99% there. When you go to the Senate, again, 99. You start going through, all of these places are 99. If you go to my election between Ruben Gago and myself, Ruben is setting at 94% of the ballots being counted. But when you look at mine and you take a look at it, it's setting at 56%. If you're not counting all of the ballots at the same time, why is mine, and it's all the way through, everybody's in the 90s except for my race. My race is at 55. So I waited for 2 weeks. So I'm going to go on Monday and I'm going to file against Katie Hobbs for deceptive practices, because the difference is that in this Democratic stronghold, they don't want me to be, because if you go 55 or 56%, they're at 13,894 votes is what they've tallied so far. If you just double that, that's going to be more votes than any Republican has had in 22 years.
Okay, so wait a minute. Is this the actual race, or aren't you running against this guy on November the 8th?
On November the 8th, yes. But
are these early voting?
No, this is the primary. So when you go and you look at the primary, I ran unopposed. Yeah. So did Ruben Gago.
Okay. Why
is Ruben's at 94% and all of the rest of the primary candidates, why are they at 90% or 90 plus, and I'm setting at 56?
Well, why do you think?
Well, because again, if I go over 20,000 ballots being counted in my favor, that will be the most that anybody has ever had in this district in 22 years.
Okay, so you're gonna take it up with Katie Hobbs, who is a Democratic Secretary of State of Arizona, right?
Exactly.
And what do you anticipate she's going to do?
Well, I don't expect them to do anything. But here's another very big concern that I have. The Secretary of State, who is over the election and the election results and everything else, is running for governor. She is actually a candidate to be running. She should have recused herself and appointed somebody else so that she could be the candidate, but she is directly over the election. And this is something that we've got to sit down and start going, okay.
So Katie Hobbs is Secretary of State and she's running for governor.
Correct.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. So how are we doing with Kari Lake?
Kari Lake won.
Yeah.
And she got enough votes. There for a while, we thought that Karen Taylor Robeson, which is a McCainite, a definite rhino, we didn't want her in, but Kari's population or popular votes with the people here in Arizona, they love her. I think that she's going to be the best. She was a Democrat.
I want to play a couple clips about her. I know we're running short, so I don't mean to interrupt, but play 8 and 9, please. I want to get your response afterwards.
I have a stern warning to anybody who thinks they're going to try to steal this next election. You're going to get caught. We've got eyes, we've got ears, and we have lawyers all over. And our law enforcement is on top of it. And we and know this. This next election, if you're caught cheating when I'm governor, there's not going to be a slap on the wrist. We're going after people who stole our vote. This is our sacred vote, and we will not stand by and have it stolen. Not again. And we're going to go back and look at who stole the 2020 election as well. This stolen election had deadly consequences. People died in Afghanistan when this illegitimate president, who shouldn't even be in the White House, did such a reckless pullout, killing 13 of our men and women, our finest in the military. Deadly consequences by allowing tons of fentanyl to pour in and kill our young people. I don't know that we're going to make it to 2024. I think we have minutes left on the clock to save this country. And so I don't care about 2024, I care about 2022. And if we don't get it right now, America, in this midterm, we're not going to have a country in 24. So, let people speculate. They want to talk about that. We have serious problems right here and right now. And I am dead set and focused on Arizona. I love this state. I want to be governor of Arizona, not because I want to be a politician. Believe me, the swamp is dirty. But I'm worried about Arizona if we don't get the right person in there. I will fight every day for the people of Arizona, and I will not let the people of this great state down.
Trump-endorsed candidate for Arizona Governor Kari Lake. Is there anything else you think we need to know?
Well, what we need to know is in Arizona, unfortunately, we have election season. We don't have election day. And so right now, you might have a ballot sitting on your kitchen counter. Make sure you take that out and vote America First candidates up and down the ballot. Vote for me, vote for Mark Fincham, vote for anybody President Trump endorsed, and just vote for people who love this country.
Comments, Jeff?
Oh, she's definitely right on. I mean, and that's exactly... I'm going to be with Kari this Saturday morning. We've got Latinos are coming out. I've got the Arizona president. I'm going to be in his limousine, the president of Lowriders of Arizona have supported me, and we're actually going to go out and make some noise. And the Latinos are actually being persecuted for voting in 2020 for Republicans. And for that, they got a light rail that goes right down Central here from downtown to Baseline, which is about 5.5 miles. And instead of taking small blocks and blocking it off, doing the light rail, going to the next one, they tore up the entire 5.5 miles. And when anybody complains downtown to the city council, then they block it up so that they don't get any business for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
So they're being persecuted here because of this, and the Democratic Party is the one that's doing it.
And this raid at Mar-a-Lago did not sit well with the Latinos in Florida. How is it sitting with the Latinos in Arizona?
Oh, it's not. In fact, most of them are calling me up and telling me that they saw this when they left the Dominican Republic. They saw this in Mexico. They saw this in Nicaragua. They said this, in Venezuela, that this Cuba is a corrupt system that is now being brought into the United States, and they've seen it, done it, moved away from it, and they're mad. They do not want this.
I know. So Elon Musk says when this country had a revolution, they revolted over taxes without representation. They got 87,000 new IRS agents who are all armed and told to be ready to use your gun coming at us. What do you think of this?
Well, yeah, as the Democratic talking point says, is that they're only being hired in order to help you so that you won't make any mistakes at all and stuff. We all know that this is going to be weaponized going against people like you and myself. They don't want us to have any money, and I've told you this, Dave, when I stayed with you, you would have kicked me out of the house if I would have said, okay, Dave, I want you to turn over all your money to me because I'm better at spending your money than you and your wife, Lisa. And what would you have done? You told me I'd kicked you right out of the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, why are we allowing the government to do this? We need to kick this government out.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're not letting them. I'm not letting them. They are weak, and they are greedy, and we don't have. We have too many rhinos in there who aren't willing to stand up.
Exactly.
JP
well, one of the things that the biggest difference between me and the incumbent is the fact that I believe in the conception of a child and bringing that child all the way through. Well, the problem is that he has already come out stating that he wants the same bill from California, AB 2223, which you can murder a child 28 days after it has been delivered. And so, where's my body, my choice? We need to sit down and draw our line, and our churches need to stand up, and our pastors now need to start getting bold. The thing is that one of the things I'm doing is I've got a pastor's breakfast that's going to be on the 30th from 8 to 11:30. We're going to provide breakfast for as many pastors to come in, and we're going to be talking about how you can endorse a candidate from the pulpit. You can endorse a party from the pulpit, and there's nothing that the IRS can do. They have no teeth, except for now. The reason why they're doing the 86,000 IRS agents and saying, oh, by the way, they've bought over 700,000 rounds of ammo. They're telling them to buy guns, and also they're going to be weaponized, is because now they're going to try to give teeth to the IRS and stuff because of things like what I'm doing, which is saying, no, they don't have the right to take your 501c3 away because you've endorsed a candidate or a party. The thing is that what I'm telling people is you need to vote your faith. And if you're a Democrat, and any of those that are listening right now, that means that you want to kill children. You want to destroy America. You want to live in a socialist, Marxist country. If you want to do that, let me know. I will personally buy a ticket to China, to Russia, to Cuba, and we will send you there, and you can live there, but leave our country alone. We are the land of the free, home of the brave, and that's exactly what we need to have state.
What's your connection to Mike Huckabee?
So Mike Huckabee picked up a story that was done on Epoch Times. I was interviewed, and they thought that it was interesting and strange that I was talking about how I received a phone call. My phone was black. It didn't work the way it normally did. There was a voice on the other end that stated that if I would drop out of the race, they'd drop the charges on my son, and hung up. And then I went on to say that I had two other phone calls, one of which is that if I would drop out of the race, they would give me access to an account where I would never have to work again. I'd have plenty of money. And then the last one is that they wanted me to go, my wife and I, to go on vacation to this island, that they were going to show me commerce between nations and how that all worked. And I've just basically have ignored all three phone calls, and he kind of picked that up. And so it's kind of interesting. how that's worked. And
did
so
did you ever identify who the callers were?
No, I turned my phone over to some IT guys. They looked at it and they go, there's the metadata shows that there was no phone call at the times that you're stating. Nothing had happened, but yet I had the conversation. So what it does is it makes me look crazy in the fact that I'm stating this. Oh, this is conspiracy. He's making these things up and stuff. And I'm like going, why would I make all this up? It doesn't serve me any purpose, but it does show that what they'll go great lengths to, like raiding a president's home and going through his wife's closet and stuff, like he's going to hide documents in her dresses and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
This is ridiculous as to what they're doing. And we, the people, are the ones that have power. And here's the thing. I am part of the Votify Now, and it's an app. If you see something, say something, and do something, well, here's what you can do. If you go to the App Store, and it's VOTIFYNOW.com, download Votify Now app. Then what you're able to do is when you have your phone and you go to a polling place or you see a ballot box and there is somebody stuffing it, take your phone out, start taking video and pictures and stuff, hit your Votify Now, put the description in, and then download those pictures and video. That is going to go to a central location where then they're going to turn around and turn all of that evidence over to the sheriff and to the AG so that they can investigate it. And with video and pictures, that is evidence that's admissible in court.
Okay, my friend. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find and contribute to you?
Go to JeffZinkForCongress.com. Click on the donation button. I'm needing funds more than anything right now, just for the simple fact is I'm trying to get street signs out, and we're just working really diligently hard. Planned Parenthood, Clinton Foundation, and I can't even think of the other corrupt organization has funded the incumbent here. He's made over $3 million. I haven't made over $100,000. That's the kind of discrepancy we have here in my district. So the more money that you can send me, the better it will be.
Jeff, I was fired as a shoeshine boy. They said I didn't have enough polish. Thank you, my friend. Stay in touch. Okay?
All right. You bet. Anytime.
All right. You take care. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hi. I should have said hi to his wife. Mm-hmm. I should have said hi to his wife. What's wrong with me? And his son, Ryan. And you know what? I've been going through this whole show, and I wrote it down to myself. I didn't say a word about it, and you could have reminded me. Brenna Weinbaum, her birthday is today.
Yes.
Hi, Brenna Weinbaum. We love you. I had it written down the whole show, and man alive, what's wrong with me? All right. Well, listen, we're back to reality here. We're back to a minute and 50 seconds. So I want to thank everybody for doing this. We're in a tough situation in this country, and we got to keep fighting. I feel the pressure right now. We're being shadow banned on Facebook. Twitter has come out and stated that they're going to start shadow banning people who disagree with them, like things like pandemic, vaccines, like voting, like elections. That somehow we're all wrong because we have different opinions. Well, guess who's been proven wrong most of the time? It's been social media. It's been the WHO, the World Health Organization. It's been the CDC and their own report on vaccines, which is the VAERS report, which is in, if my doctor is listening, the New England Journal of Medicine, to tell you how many people have been injured and or killed by vaccines. And even that is just a small portion of what's being reported. So listen, hey, you have a great weekend. You keep your mind sharp. Don't be depressed. Don't get down. Just wake up every morning determined we're going to find a way to save our country. And we're going to find it day by day with God's help. We are going to save the United States of America. I'll be back